What is up, RotoGrinders? 2 hours of nonstop MLB DFS conversation starts right now. It is a big boy slate, not messing around. It is the People's Show. It is Tuesday. All rise for the People's Show. Now you may be seated. It's myself, Dean Chamberlain, joined by Bobby Gomes. Oh, Bobby actually got up for us. Look at that. What's up, Bobby?
What's up? How's it going, Dino? How's it going?
What's up, Bobby?
You were researching pies all day, so hope you're excited for the slate as well. Did some research for the slate, hopefully, because that's important for the show, I would imagine, correct?
Well, yeah. Well, I think it was Tim that threw it out there. We're later on in the show, we are going to be doing tiers for pies. And Tim actually is the one who officially did the rankings for us. So I'm just the guy, I'm just there, say, your rankings stink. I'm like the chat. How do you leave out this? How do you leave out that? I don't understand. You can only rank 5 things. But Tim officially ranked his favorite pies. We'll be talking about it later. I think you had a rallying cry for ricotta pie, which I wasn't aware existed, but sounds gross. I'm not a fan of ricotta, so I assume ricotta pie is not good, but I don't know. But and then you were talking.
That's a bad.
Well, I haven't had it before. I can't, but I just don't like ricotta. You know, the rare instance that I have like a calzone, I'm like, yeah, can you 86 the ricotta? Like, why you want to ruin the ricotta? Why do you want to ruin the calzone with all that ricotta?
It's sweet ricotta, Dean. It's not. It's dessert ricotta. It's not ricotta that you would have in a calzone.
Well, that's what they put in the what is the other Italian dessert?
In the cannolis. The cannolis, Dean. The cannolis.
Yeah. When I found out there was ricotta in there, I felt like, oh no.
Dean's a huge cannoli guy. Huge cannoli guy.
I mean, they're delicious, but I haven't had one in forever. But they are spectacular. Who dislikes a cannoli? Come on. All right. What's up, Tim? How are things in your world? Everything good?
Well, I mean, we got into such a heated debate about pies in the last hour. I barely had time to research the slate. I had to have a brownie a la mode pre-show snack because I got so hungry talking about desserts, and I don't.
Is that how easily you are manipulated? Like just the power of suggestion works on you that well?
Yes, it does.
So can I mention the worst player on the slate over and over and over, and somehow that person's going to land in your lineup? Is that how that works?
No, I don't know about that, but I mean, when it comes to food, it's like I have to have it right then.
Fair enough, Bobby. You were saying I don't know what we were kind of talking over each other for a second.
Yeah, sorry about that. No,
no worries.
Now I lost. I think Dean's trying to give Tim diabetes. You know.
That's what I'm trying to do. It's a really evil thing to do. I don't know why I would use my powers for such things, but yeah, I don't know. If one brownie is what does it, he was already on his way. You know what I mean? He was already getting there.
What's one more brownie, Dean? At this point, I mean, really, what's one more?
Oh, yeah. So this is the other thing we debate. This was actually our debate. Producer Steve just went ahead and dropped this in chat for the people. And I don't like this question. It's a very leading question, and maybe the chat
How is this leading?
Oh, well, I can explain. Let me.
All right, go ahead.
Let me explain, and I'll let you rebut. And I want Bobby to chime in as well. So what you asked me, what season do you consider pie season? And my answer is I don't consider any season pie season, so I don't know what the answer. What is pie season? You can only have pie in March or October. I know there's seasonal pies and whatever. It's there's seasonal drinks, that kind of thing. But it's the drink is still the drink. The pie is still the pie. You can have, if you want, you probably shouldn't. You can have pumpkin pie in January if you want, but it's not that great. Of all the pie options. We'll talk about that later, I mentioned. But Bobby, do you think there is a such thing as pie season? And when would you tell me pie season is? Because it's a presumption that you think it exists, and I don't think it exists. So I don't want to answer the question.
I like apple pie all year round, Dean. I'll say that for sure.
Yeah. So how do you answer this question?
I don't know. It's a tough question, but hopefully the chat can answer it for us.
Well, the thing is, there's no sort of D or E. This is a terrible question. This question doesn't make any sense. I can eat pie all year round. I don't understand.
Some states don't have seasons too, right? So you can't really do fall, winter. Like Florida,
This is
Dean,
true.
you don't really have seasons, right?
I mean, it's
There's no
hockey
fall
season
for
right
you.
now, but yeah, there's really no official season.
Oh my God.
Oh, that's a terrible. Yeah.
You're gonna be victory lapping that for the next 6 months, aren't you, Dean?
Well, I mean, if you want to go back, I can show you the receipts. I've been telling you the Panthers are winning the title for like the entire season, and the whole year.
It's the only team that you root for.
You're the hockey expert, and I'm the hockey dope. And I'm here telling
okay. All right.
Is it weird that there's going to be like more Stanley Cups in Florida than there is in probably a lot of the Canadian cities?
Canada's not won it since 1993. I mean, obviously, Ed Montreal has got a storied history. I don't know, when did Edmonton win it last ever? Edmonton's won it before, right? Sure, they've won it, but yeah. I know it's been a while for Canada. All of Canada's rooting for Edmonton, I imagine. Less than 1 million people in Edmonton. I didn't realize how small of a city it was. But you ever been? Anybody ever been to Edmonton? I hear it's nice. No,
never been. Never been. Tim lives in Maine, so it's like the same thing.
Basically, it's like probably 1,000 miles away, but more or less the same. All right. Oh, did want to mention this as well. We're having a little bit of fun with Tournament Tuesday. You guys, I don't know if you're aware of this or not. Jump into the live stream chat channel. There are limited spots, so you want to get your spot. You want to win yourself some RG Premium. How do you do that? You win this contest. Producer Devin set up a contest, but there is a catch. There's a catch in the contest because it's the People's Show, because it's Tim, Dean, and Bobby. You have to roster 3 players, one with a first name that starts with a T, one with a first name that starts with a D, and one with a first name that starts with a B for Bobby. So there you go. That's how your team qualifies. You just abide by those rules. Everything else, you want to win. You know, there's no salary restrictions. I assume you're going to be playing players that are actually in lineups. This is not a low ball kind of setup, but yeah, it's just for funsies. This is producer Steve thought this up. Yeah, doesn't have to be Dean or Tim or Bobby. I don't know if there's any Deans. There probably isn't. But just start with the first initial of the host today. So there you go. Have at it. Jump into the live stream chat channel. That's over in the Discord channel, RotoGrinders.com/Discord, live stream chat channel. And get in there. Limited spots. Take that tournament down. You get yourself a week free of RG Premium. Take it down while rocking the RotoGrinders badge. You get yourself 2 weeks free of RG Premium. You don't know how to add the badge. It's right there in the Discord, right underneath the contest. It takes less than a minute to do. It's very, very simple. Get yourself some premium. I wanted to join, but I don't want to take any spots. It sounds like fun, but for now, I'm going to stay away. I want to let the people play, but it sounds like fun. I don't know. But anyways, Tim, you want to give me the screenshot of today's slate? I'm still. So what do I vote here for this? I want to see the results in the poll, but I don't know. I think it's fall. I think fall was the chalk. I think that's the answer. Yeah, everybody put fall, Tim.
Right. Fall, exactly. That's what I said, Dean. And you thought that was ridiculous.
Well, I just don't understand why pie cannot be had in I don't know, January.
You can, but that's not pie season.
All right. Well, okay. All right. Fair enough. I told you to this is something like Martha Stewart would probably come up with or something like that. I don't know. It seems like that's something that's the start of her new show. Is it shift shows still? I don't know. But any event, the people have spoken, at least in a small sample, that fall apparently is pie season. Go ahead and give me the screenshot as far as today's slate, Tim. We're getting a bunch of lineups in. We have 4 teams that have a 5 total, basically exactly, but nobody beyond that. Pretty strange. It feels really wide open. I'm curious to get your thoughts as well. I had a hard time ranking my stacks. We'll be ranking them later on as well, but ranking in the rankings. I think we'll talk about it. We'll talk about it later on. But I think there's 4 teams that have a team total right around 5, but nothing that's extravagant. Diamondbacks around 5 against Suarez. We have the Dodgers, as always, against Dunning, a 5 total. I think the Yankees have a 5 total. We're assuming Judge is back, right? I'm not sure if we've seen a lineup just yet for the Yankees, but I would imagine he's back. They're on the road in Kansas City. And there's one more, Minnesota against Cal Quantrill, another 5 total. But what do you have for me here as far as the screenshot, Tim, today's slate?
Yeah, so, from a macro perspective, I see a lot of ownership condensing on 4 pitchers. That's going to make hitting, I think, is going to be very, very spread out. So if you like any particular team today, I say go for it. Don't worry about ownership when it comes to hitting. I think there's going to be a lot of spread out ownership with bats. But pitching is really going to be chalky. There's going to be a lot of condensed chalk, in my opinion. 4 or 3 really obvious names are going to be sticking out for pitching. And then likely possibly a 4th, depending on what people do with Louis Varland. By the way, Judge is in batting 3rd, Dean. That lineup just came out. So you're going to see a ton of Brian Wu chalk, Zach Wheeler chalk, and Paul Steens chalk. Those 3 are going to be the clear, extremely chalky pitchers. And I have no argument with that at all whatsoever. I mean, they are clearly far and ahead the best pitchers on the slate. They all have really excellent matchups. So any different, getting different from those 3 will naturally make your team contrarian. So guys like, Drew Thorpe, who's a highly touted prospect for the White Sox going up against a high strikeout Seattle team, Tyler McGill going up against the Marlins. He should be pretty successful today also. But really, Wu, Skeens, and Wheeler are going to be mega, mega chalky. So pitching to me is pretty straightforward. But hitting is where things get really, really tough because there are some really, really strong one-off bats, but also some really, really strong stacks. So it's a much more difficult hitting decision on the slate.
Currently, our ownership on DK, we have Wu at 39%, Skeens at 32%, Varland at 26%, who's not been good, but he's facing Colorado, so they might be the cure. Wheeler at 22%, taking on Boston. Beyond that,
I'm surprised. I'm surprised Varland's that high. Sorry, Dean. I'm surprised Varland's that high.
I agree because I think, and we'll have this conversation I think there's other options scraping the barrel. I don't love Randy Vasquez, but I think you can argue Randy Vasquez can be right there against Varland. You mentioned McGill, who's cheap enough. He's a little bit more expensive, but he's cheap enough. Thorpe, I don't know. Maybe I'm not sure about Thorpe. I didn't like the projection and the bats and a couple of the other projection systems, giving him 19 or 20% Ks projected in the majors. That's just a projection system, and you never really know, right? But doesn't necessarily love him for strikeouts long term. That's kind of where we're at right now. There's a couple other cheap guys that you can consider too. A couple guys making their MLB debut. Not just Thorpe, but also the dude from Milwaukee is making his debut as well. I think that's more of a FanDuel conversation. Rodriguez. He's 6'9" on DK. He's 5 or 6K or something really cheap on FanDuel. Probably don't need it, but want to get Bobby's take. Where you at, Bobby, as far as the slate? Do you agree that I think it's pretty clear that the hitters, it's wide open. Just play whatever you want. If you like a team, just play them. Who cares about ownership? That's more of a pitching certainly more condensed. Do you agree with that thought process, Bobby? What are you seeing as far as the old screenshots?
The hitters are very spread out, but you can get Dodger stacks, I would imagine, pretty low owned in the slate. So I'll be over on the Dodgers, over on the Yankees, stacks like that, just because we're getting so many viable teams here from a stacking perspective. In terms of pitching, I was going to say Louis Varland and Brian Wu. One of them I'm not playing, I can tell you that much. But I do think it's going to be relatively condensed with Skeens and obviously Zach Wheeler up top. And then you would have Wu would probably be my 3rd. He'd probably be a staple if I was playing cash, but I don't know. It's the White Sox. They've been better than they were earlier in the season. Wu probably has a pitch count, or he's still on a pitch count, pretty positive. So I don't know. I worry about his ceiling, right? And then I have issues with Louis Varland as well. Obviously the price is good at 6K, but I think it's just a pricing play for Varland and the fact that the matchup is the Rockies. So one of these two I'm Xing out. Currently, I don't have Brian Wu, and I'm playing Varland because of the price discount. But I wanted to get the opinion of you guys on basically who I should be under on or just completely fading. I do think, like you said, Randy Vasquez isn't the worst play. And I kind of like San Diego stack today. So when I like correlating my pitcher with my bats, which I like to do a good bit, I think Vasquez makes a good bit of sense versus Oakland as a pivot off of a guy like Varland. Then you have Kikuchi at 9-1. He's right above Wu, 200 more. The Milwaukee Brewers haven't been the greatest versus left-handed pitching, right? So I think Kikuchi, if he has a ceiling game, he could match a Wu floor game, or not a floor game, but like just a regular game. I do worry about the ceiling of Wu. I will say that. Wu's currently the one I have out. I like McGill. He's going up against Miami. Same game. I like Jesus Luzardo as well. So there are a lot of options there. And then Zach Wheeler, he's playing the Red Sox. I just want to be over on Wheeler. Him and then Paul Skeens is an absolute stud. Like Chop will say every time he's on a show, and I think it's a good spot to really play him today versus the Cardinals, who, as we know, are tremendously gutless.
I thought they got their way out of the gutless power.
No, they're still gutless. They're still gutless.
Okay.
They're still gutless.
Skeens' highest K rate on the slate by far, 7% higher than the next guy, Zach Wheeler. But Zach Wheeler he's one of the longest leashes in all of baseball. He'll throw 110, 115 if they need him, if it kind of makes sense for the situation. I think those are pretty clearly the top two. By the way, I was looking at our projection for Wu. We're projecting 85 pitches. He's thrown no more. That's a median projection. No more than 85 pitches all season. He threw 85 last time out, kind of building his way up. No more than 6 innings as well. But, so like if you want to poke holes, you can say that. Like he's basically not going to go beyond 6 innings, and he's probably not going to throw beyond the 85 pitches, but he is facing Chicago, and it's kind of baked into the price as well. By the way, Kevin making a point here in chat. If pie season is fall, then why is National Pie Month in February? Take that, Tim. Big Pie takes somebody off. What's available? February? Okay.
Look at the poll, Dean. That's all you gotta do.
Look at the calendar. And of course,
is Vasquez really gonna be? Is Vasquez really gonna be higher on than McGill? I'd be shocked. I think McGill's gonna be like the chalky kind of cheapy guy.
Where do we currently have those two?
We have Vasquez at 19 and McGill at 18.
So it's a small sample, but McGill has the third highest K rate on the slate, and it's 21 innings, 27%. Fly ball guy as well, but he's somewhat protected by that ballpark there in New York. And again, it's all small samples, so you're going to get weird numbers. 3.7% homer on the fly ball. But he's facing the Marlins, so he should probably survive against the Marlins. It's not a very good lineup there for Miami. Good ballpark as well. I think it's an interesting call. If that is the case, I would be happy taking McGill as well. 18% for McGill, 19% for Vasquez. Basically a coin toss. I just think Varland at 26. I know he's a little bit cheaper, but I was looking. I want to pull up his minor league stuff. Just kind of quote it because it wasn't very good. But again, he's facing Colorado. Did you have an answer for Bobby? Bobby wanted to know if you only picked one of Wu and Varland in a particular lineup. If you had to get lower than the field, I think the answer is Varland, right? I think it is.
I think it's definitely Varland, and I don't mind being under on Wu. I kind of agree with Bobby. Now in cash games, I would be playing Wu, but in GPPs, I completely agree with Bobby that his ceiling is relatively capped. So I don't mind coming in way under that 40% number on Wu. We have guys like Zach Wheeler who have mega long leashes. We got guys like Paul Skeens. I like Tyler McGill even more than Wu. So I really don't mind Bobby's call on being under on Wu. Jesus Luzardo, I mean, he hasn't been good in years past, but he did put up big numbers against the same Mets team a few weeks ago. So, I mean, I don't mind him in GPPs either. So, I think, I don't know, like, the question for me is, like, Varland and Vasquez. Like, Vasquez doesn't strike out anybody. So, it's just purely matchup based. and you're not really getting much of an ownership discount over Varland. So I don't know. Like if I'm going way down, I would probably side with Varland over Vasquez.
Trying to see if anybody in the chat's throwing out some different names. Did you guys have an official Thorpe take? I don't think I'm on it. I mean, I only make so many lineups. I don't think I need it, basically. I think there's enough other nonsense around there. Anybody? I don't. You kind of mentioned he was a big prospect, Tim. I think that's mostly because he's in Chicago, and like you have to put somebody as like the second or third biggest prospect, and their minor leagues are not great. I think that's the case. Do you know more about that? I'm pretty sure
I don't.
If he was in a different organization, he wouldn't be as highly ranked as he is in Chicago.
No, that's probably a good point. That's probably a good point, Dean. And 7-7, there are pitchers that I like far more in that same kind of range. So I have no problem being underweight on Thorpe. But I mean, he's only projected for 5%. So if I'm MMEing, I wouldn't mind, matching the field or being a tiny bit under. But I mean, he's not going to be chalky at all.
They're throwing out Michaelis over Vasquez. Speaking of guys that just have no strikeout upside, well, it's 17%. I guess it's not as horrendous. It's better than Vasquez at 14. Montgomery's still just been horrendous this year. 13.8% as far as the case. Still kind of figuring stuff out. Okay, Keith is telling us, Thorpe is 74th on FanGraphs. Yeah, so okay. And that I guess I thought he was a little bit higher than that. I wasn't sure if he cracked the top 100. I figured it was around the fringe. Keith will be on later, by the way. Keith Eyster, as well as Dave Potts. Cheeseisgood. I saw somebody in chat say he called the slate. Did you guys read Dave's article today? I think I read it by chance, but he was talking about bananas and why we use the word bananas as being crazy, and then he called the slate apricots. So I made a reference to the article in chat, and I knew what you were doing there. So maybe if Dave says the slate is apricots later on in the show, that's what he's doing. He's just kind of referencing his article. Eric, always good for Eric to throw out some random names. Suarez, no. Hicks, no.
Suarez's median pitch projection is 72. So he's definitely limited with his pitch count. So definitely not Suarez. What was the other one? He's
rarely a starter. Yeah, he works out of the pen mostly, and I think his K total is his K prop is 2.5 or 3.5. I did bid over 3.5, but I got some positive juice on it. But there's no upside there at all. Did you have a take as far as who was somebody threw out Luzardo? Was that Tim or is that Bobby? I'm curious to get.
I think it was both of us actually.
Elaborate on Luzardo. Talk me to Luzardo because I'm thinking about it. He was terrible last time, but that stuff happens.
I mean, that stuff happens, and he's only going to be 5% owned. I know the Mets don't strike out a lot, but still, he's more than capable of shutting this team out. 8,100. There's going to be really, really chalky pieces around that same price tag. So I think Luzardo is a very strong GPP play.
Yeah. Bobby, how many laps are you making today? Bobby, you're on mute, sir.
I wanted to make a Thorpe point, Dean. I'm currently playing 150. But you said that Thorpe only had a 20% K rate in the minors. I know it's AA to the majors, but the Mariners are striking out at 27%.
Yes, it's a very good strikeout matchup. But what I was saying is I was not quoting his minor league numbers. I was quoting the projection systems that had him striking out. Let me see. Yeah. So according to the BAT, they're projecting him to strike out at 18% rate in the majors. Steamer 19%, Zips 21. This is just a projections for when he comes in the majors. So, that's all we got. We have his minor league numbers where I think he's basically struck out a batter an inning. I want to say it was 45 and 46 innings, give or take. But he's not projected to be a great strikeout guy in the majors, according to projection systems. So, but yes, whenever you face Seattle, they gift you 3 or 4 strikeouts right from the top, right? So that's your floor. Bobby wants. Jared wants to know. I think Jared's one of those secret chat guys. I'm pretty sure
he's one of those secret chat guys. Yeah,
I'm pretty sure he is. Is Bobby going to the Celtics championship parade with Kirkwood? Yeah, I asked you this the other day, and I asked if it's would you even step out in the balcony if the parade was going down below, and you wouldn't do that?
No,
no interest.
No, Definitely not. No, definitely not. I'd have to take my loss. Like the Mavs are gonna get crushed, but it is what it is.
It's not over just yet.
Yeah, I think it's over.
It's probably over.
It's probably.
Hey, you never gave us the official story with Paul Pierce. We were talking about Paul Pierce and your love for Paul Pierce on Saturday on Sirius, and you just randomly ran into him on Saturday night. Was there a story to that? Did he stop you or you stopped him?
No, I stopped him. Which I didn't feel like doing. You know, when you see someone who's like a personality, and that's my NBA goat. So I had to do it. We were walking home from dinner. Yeah.
What do you say?
Said told him he's my favorite player of all time. You know, I've been fighting with people in YouTube comments about his greatness for years. So, you know,
did he have a message for YouTube chat?
No, he didn't have it. I think he was stoned out of his mind, to be completely honest.
All right.
Even my girlfriend was like, he was feeling really good. Like you could see it in his eyes. Like he was messed up.
Yeah.
I don't blame him.
There you go.
Yeah.
Well, he was polite enough to take a picture. I saw you had a photo op. You shared a picture on the Twitter as well. So
yeah, there you go. Yeah, he's good. Nice guy.
All right. I'm trying to see if there's any other pictures that are worth talking about. They're suggesting it might have been photoshopped in chat. It definitely was not photoshopped. That was real, right? I bought it. It was real. Another pitcher that's pitching for the first time today, Rodriguez for Milwaukee. Does anybody have any interest in Carlos Rodriguez? Does Toronto line up? Now we've definitely heard Toronto's gutless. See who are they missing from this lineup? The dude with the mustache, Schneider, is not playing today. They got Horwitz leading off for the Blue Jays. But yeah, any Carlos Rodriguez takes from anybody? I don't really see it.
I just ran 150 in Sims and got 0% Rodriguez. So
what are you getting a lot of?
Well, it's funny. I'm getting a ton of Skeens, a ton of Wheeler, and then tied for third is Kikuchi and Luzardo. So I'm not surprised by Luzardo, but I am surprised by Kikuchi. So, but yeah, Skeens and Wheeler overwhelmingly are 1 and 2, and then Varland, Vasquez, and then Wu. Yeah, Wu is not simming well, and I am not surprised by that at all.
Think he's just sealing his temper a little bit just because he can only throw so many pitches? Yep.
I mean, I still think he's fine for cash games because the matchup is so, safe, but it's definitely it's a little bit sketchy, I think, for large field GPPs.
I want the chat to throw their random brushes of fame. Like, who did you randomly run into? Do you happen to have one, Tim? You got anybody else? Can you one up Bobby here with Paul Pierce?
Definitely nobody that I really ran into. I've played poker with some celebrities, but not anyone not met up in the street.
Tim lives on an island in Maine, Dean. He's not running into any. He's lucky to run into
King. Maybe you met Stephen King.
Mark Cuban was pumping gas right next to me, I don't know, 2 days ago.
Was he? I sat near Cuban. I sat near Cuban at a Celtics game once. It was COVID though, so he was the seat over, but we were separated.
Devin says he ran into Reba while doing video work at CMA. I like how he just knows. We all know it's Reba McEntire. He's first name basis. It's Reba. You guys know Reba. All right, Michael. I played poker with Allen Iverson. He was a nightmare. I want to know more about that. Curious what kind of nightmare Iverson was.
Of course, he's not good at poker. It's Allen Iverson. He plays bass. He's probably never plays poker.
Yeah, I don't really. Let's see. Mark Cuban pumps his own gas. Nobody believes that. Let's see. Ran into Charles Barkley walking across the muddy. What? He was my idol. Let's see. Oh, so yeah, took a picture of his head. Who was tanked? Was Barkley tanked or you were tanked? All right.
Barkley was definitely tanked. I can imagine.
Barkley's in my city right now. At least he was a couple of days ago. I didn't see him, but he was at the hockey game. He was at game 2 there.
You live in Florida, Dean. It's like the anti-Tim. Everyone's in Florida, right? I would imagine. All the celebrities.
People kind of more so Miami, Fort Lauderdale. I'm a little bit. People don't. Nobody even knows what the Florida Panthers play, but they don't play in Miami. They did many years ago. They don't play in Fort Lauderdale either. The arena is essentially in the Everglades. but it's not sunk just yet, and nobody's been bit by an alligator, to the best of my knowledge. Devin did meet me once.
Until you get bit by an alligator.
I had a close call when I was younger, but no, they haven't got me just yet. Saw Ozzie Smith at the MGM Grand years ago walking the other direction. I was at a baseball camp many, many years ago, and they brought in Ozzie Smith. I was one of the kids, this is many years ago. And he refused to sign anything. It's like, dude, it was like 10 of us. Like, really, Ozzie? Like, you can't. They brought him in. I'm sure they paid him.
Can I guess your baseball position, Dean?
Sure, go ahead.
I feel like you were a catcher.
Is this like based on what, the Sandlot? Like the Husky guy goes, it was a little more spelt back in the day. But no, that is incorrect. That was not a catcher. Tim, you want to take a guess, Tim? I know
what baseball position you were?
Yeah.
I'm gonna go with my position, which was first base.
There you go. Are you a lefty?
No, I'm not a lefty.
Oh, you're supposed to be a lefty at first base. I was a first baseman. I was a lefty.
Someone said bat boy in chat.
Left bench. Yeah. Yeah. Third base is really hard. I don't know if it's that throw is much longer than you think it is when you get out there. I once covered it for for an inning, and I'm like, this is not for me. I never really had the best arm in the business, but
I feel like third's easier because the ball gets on you fast, right? So you don't have a lot of time to think about the throw.
But that throw it's a long throw. It's a long throw to first base, and you got to be paying attention at all times as well. So they don't call it the hot counter for nothing. Played roulette with CJ McCollum in Boston 2 years ago. There you go. All right, everybody's got their random little brush of fame. Costanza played catcher. Is that true? I think he played catcher because isn't that what the episode in Seinfeld? Was he a catcher? I don't recall. There's a Bette Midler episode where they played a softball. It's been a long time since I watched Seinfeld. Anyways, let's get back on track. We don't really have any definitive stands here. Bobby, you got a definitive stand as far as pitcher? Are you still kind of figuring it out? Somebody I'm going to be well over.
One I'm fading is either Varland or Wu, and one I'm going to be significant there, and I'm going to be under on both. Well, the other one I'm going to be under the field on. I think I'm going to play more of the White Sox pitcher Thorpe there than the field.
Yeah,
Skeens is going to be in a lot of my lineups, I would imagine. I just think he's a really good play. I like Tim's call on McGill too. I'll be over on McGill.
Tim, have you figured it out? You basically make that one main lineup, right? Have you figured out your combination, or it's like two of these 4 or 5 guys?
I'm 100% playing Skeens in both single entry and cash. And then in cash, I'm probably going to play Wu. But in single entry, I'm probably going to play McGill. That's probably what I'm going to do.
Have you considered in cash Skeens, Wheeler, double barrel, or is that you just don't have the money for it?
I think you can do that. I'm not crazy about it because there's some expensive bats that I want to one-off. So probably not going to do that. But I don't think that's bad. It's not bad to do
that. Wheeler, by the way, I did check. His second highest leash in baseball. Of course, number 1 is Hunter Green. 102 pitches per game on average. Zach Wheeler, 99.7. Just ahead of Dylan Cease and Logan Webb. You just love that.
Brian Rue scratched.
Oh boy. Oh, okay. So where? Huh?
We have to do everything, redo everything now because.
All right, to start the show over.
Skeens is gonna be like unbelievably highly owned now, like super chalk.
And Varland's gonna have is Varland gonna be like 35% owned now?
Yep.
Yeah.
Is that bad? That seems bad.
Yeah, it's very bad. Very, very bad.
Interesting. Huh. Do we know who's playing for Seattle? Have they announced anybody? Is it a bullpen?
Yeah. They announced somebody. I can't remember.
Bullpen game?
It's Diaz.
I don't know who that is. Is it like a long man or something? Or I'm pulling up their active roster.
I'm finding out right now.
All right, that definitely is that definitely does affect the slates. Where is
it? Looks like it's just going to be. He's going to be just like an opener type.
I don't see Diaz like on their active roster, so maybe they're calling him up.
He's in plate IQ. I don't think he's done anything this year. I don't think he's pitched this year.
Okay. All right. Plate IQ already has him in there? Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, I see. You're saying as far as they have the names ready to go. I see. You can kind of shuffle to it. I gotcha.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. I wonder if he was pitching in the minors. I don't think he was in the majors, unless I'm missing something. But yeah, that's gonna be certainly affecting the slate for sure. Ownership's going to adjust. Skeens is going to jump up to like 40% possibly. Yeah, man. All these guys. How much percentage? We're looking at like 40 percentage pieces to be delegated around. So I think essentially everybody's going to get elevated to some degree. Skeens, Barland, Wheeler, McGill, I guess Vasquez as well. But okay. We're still not playing the White Sox, right? Maybe probably not. Probably
not in a bullpen game.
Yeah, if that's what it is. I don't really want to pick on. All right. What else needs to be said as far as pitchers, Tim? Or we're pretty much done. We're going to talk about our favorite stacks. Anything else that you want to point out, pitcher-wise?
Well, cash games is all different now without Woo. So I mean, it's Skeens and probably Wheeler and Cash now.
Now you just lose a bat and just get the safety of two good arms. Yeah.
Yeah. Right. Yeah, that really changes the slate a ton.
McKenzie was thrown out in chat. I'm concerned with McKenzie and his fly ball issues and throwing baseballs in Cincinnati. Like nobody has a higher fly ball rate on the slate than McKenzie, Tristan McKenzie, and he's in Cincinnati. And he's given up over 2 homers per 9 in the season as well already. That's basically all his runs, right? It's kind of a. I don't think I'm in on it, but like I think you can do it. And I think he should be. I think he's probably in the pool. It's probably a Bobby question because if you're running 150, do you have Tristan McKenzie in your pool?
I don't have McKenzie in my pool because it's Great American Small Park. The weather is very good, and he's a fly ball pitcher, like Dean said. I can't go there. I like bats against him, though. I'll tell you that much.
You got anything else there, Tim, as far as McKenzie, or anything else as far as pitchers in general?
Yeah, I'm not really into McKenzie on the slate. I'd rather just play Thorpe or McGill at that same price range.
Yes, I agree. I would pick one of those two before I pick McKenzie. All right. And yeah, they're talking about, I see they're mentioning one more time, we should throw it out to the people. Get yourself a week free of RG Premium. How do you go about doing that? You jump into the live stream chat channel. You join the contest that producer Devin has dropped there. The one caveat, the one catch, you have to abide by these rules. 3 of the players you roster, one of them has to have a first name that starts with T for Tim, with a B for Bobby, and a D for Dean. There you go. No other rules necessary. Just take it down. And you get 2 weeks free of RG Premium if you do so while wearing the RotoGrinders badge. And again, if you don't have that just yet, it's posted right below in the Discord, and it takes less than a minute to knock that out. But all right, give me the summary, Bobby. As far as arms, let's talk some bats in a second. Anything else you want to say as far as pitchers? Give me the old summary. If somebody just tuned in right now, Bobby, what do they need to know outside of a Woo getting scratched?
Skeens and Wheeler for me are going to be staples. I think you could look to that Mets game with Luzardo and McGill in larger field stuff or just secondary options. Drew Thorpe, I think someone you should be overweight on today versus Seattle. Same thing with Kikuchi. That's pretty much my player pool. I think I'm Xing Varland. I'm not playing Chalk Varland today. Maybe it's the wrong take, but he's someone that I'm not going to get to too much in my lineups, if at all.
Diaz is 4K on DK. I don't know how long he's expected to go. I want to see when he pitched last. Like if he could possibly pitch 5 innings or so, but I don't know if that's possible. But yeah, I want to check and see where our projection team puts his pitch count. But that could be interesting. Something that we'll try to find out as the show progresses. Is that something worth noting here, Tim? He's 4K on DK. But again, he might just be like a legit 1 or 2 inning guy. I've not looked at his game log.
I haven't looked at his game log either, but I'm assuming he'll just be a 1 to 2 inning person.
Trying to find that right now on the fly. Okay, chat, let me know in chat. Tell me favorite pies, best pies, worst pies, best pies, worst pies. Producer Steve's going to be throwing up the board in just a second as far as our rankings. Tim, you're going to have to tell the people why you picked what you picked, but we want to give them a second to throw out their options. I'm finding Diaz in this game log right now, by the way, trying to get to it in just a second, but I guess we can do that. Let's see. He's pitched June 5th. He threw 3 innings on June 5th. May 30th, he threw 6 innings. Okay, so he's kind of stretched out. 6 innings on the 30th, 6 innings on the 24th, 7 innings on the 17th for Tacoma, it looks like. Last time out, 3 innings, 5 walks, I guess is the reason why he got the hook there. I guess he just wasn't throwing strikes, and they had to get him out of the game. But I guess he's stretched out enough, and he's 4K, and he's throwing baseballs against a bad offense. So maybe it's not completely bonkers. Maybe it's not totally apricots to consider playing some of him today. Diaz, that is. Stroman bounce back game. I have no interest in Stroman. He's got no upside. There's like no chance he's a top 2 or 3 pitcher on this slate unless he throws like a no hitter. Anybody have an interest in Stroman? It's a no for me. Very quick down.
Definitely not for me.
Yeah, no Stroman.
Eric actually has a real. Oh, go ahead, Bobby.
I have a. What about? I know he's been absolutely terrible, but in 150, how is Texas versus lefties? James Paxton there.
I mean, what's the upside in Paxton? He just doesn't strike anybody out, and he walks too many guys. Like, what are you trying to do?
Apparently lose money if I was considering it.
I would, if I was playing 150, I would have, quite a few Texas stacks. I mean,
yeah.
I thought you were going to say you're going to have some. You would have 0 Paxton, right?
No, I would definitely not pitch Paxton. No, I would definitely try to get some Texas exposure. Just because Paxton is so horrible.
Let's reveal the board, and I think Tim, I got a sneak peek at it, and you know what? Eric's making a good point in chat. Pizza Pie. How did Pizza Pie not make the board? That's an error.
No,
that's a mistake.
You know what, Dean? No,
never heard of
pie. You've never heard of Pizza Pie? What are you talking about?
I've heard of Pizza Pie.
Yeah, you goofed. It's okay. Take the L. I messed up yesterday. I did my 2 sport athletes. I forgot about Air Bud. It happens to all of us.
And Jim Thorpe somehow.
Well, no, not somehow, because you can only rank 5 people.
I don't really know.
So big. I didn't realize there's such a big Jim Thorpe stand. You were very upset about this yesterday. But Pizza Pie is not better than pumpkin? Are you serious? It's not even a conversation.
I'm not including that as a pie.
Jello pudding pie. I don't know about that.
I've never heard of that.
I'm not sure. Yeah, I feel like that's. I don't know. Is that a thing? Pudding is not pie, right? Tim, explain your board.
Yeah. So I'm not. Is the board even up? Oh, it is up.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So Apple. I mean, I think you can't go wrong with Apple. So it's safe with ice cream. It's safe with whipped cream. It's safe as a crisp. It's safe as a traditional pie. I mean, it's just the safest choice. I've never really had a bad apple pie. So I think that makes apple pie the best highly rated pie. Pecan is very, very close. Pecan is delicious. It's sweet. It's perfect for, Thanksgiving time. It's perfect with homemade whipped cream.
It's a seasonal
pie. It's definitely a seasonal pie, definitely. but Dean, you could have pecan pie at any time. So, I love pecan pie. And then pumpkin for me is take it or leave it. That's why it's in the middle. Not a huge fan, but I don't hate it. Same kind of deal with strawberry rhubarb. Some are great and some are awful. And then there's mincemeat pie, which my mother loves, and it is so disgusting. So I definitely had to put mincemeat pie at the very bottom.
What's your takeaway here, Bobby?
I think pie in general is overrated.
This is here we go. Here we go.
I will say that apple is my favorite. Pumpkin would be second, then pecan at 3. The other 2 I've never heard of or tried. So yeah, I don't have an opinion.
I've heard the word rhubarb. I don't know if I've ever had it before. I didn't know it was a strawberry rhubarb. Rhubarb comes in different forms, I believe. I don't know why you picked strawberry. But
I mean,
I'm not sure what
rhubarb. You could have rhubarb by itself, but it's usually added with strawberry in a pie. So that's definitely a New England thing.
There you go.
I live in New England. I've never heard of it. Rhubarb pie.
Yeah, it might not be in Boston.
The main thing. It's the main thing. It's right there with Moxie. You have yourself some strawberry.
Someone said, "How did cheesecake not make this list?" Ricotta pie should be number one.
Cheesecake's not a pie.
But ricotta pie is cheesecake as a pie, and it would be number one on my list.
It's imposter cheesecake.
It's so good.
Poor man's cheesecake.
It's better than all of these, I can tell you.
Pumpkin pie, by the way, overrated. I do agree. Somebody said in chat it was overrated. You got to dress it up. Like even Tim said, how is he selling pumpkin pie? Or you throw some whipped cream on it. You got to dress it up. If it's not good as is,
I think it's good by itself too. It's good by itself,
but it needs some frills. It needs some bells and whistles, and that's all I'm saying. Producer Steve found us a recipe for chocolate pudding pie, so apparently that does exist. It looks good. I've never had it before, but I guess it does exist. It's a real thing. Devin saying pumpkin pie is garbaggio. I just like to use it as garbaggio. There you go. And I've never had a mincemeat pie either. I've heard. I saw Bobby says I've heard the word before, but I feel like people reference it as like something that tastes terrible. So I've never tried it. Am I missing out? I guess not. Your mom likes it, but nobody else does.
Mincemeat pie is disgusting. There's a lot of different ways that you can make it. Sometimes it's
some more horrible than others.
Oh God, it's like beef, dried fruits, spices, and some kind of alcohol like rum or brandy. I mean, it's disgusting. It is awful. I'm going to send them on to Bobby for Christmas this year.
Show him how you feel about him.
Thank you, Tim. I appreciate it, Tom.
So it's a seasonal pie.
Your name.
Mincemeat. Christmas, you got to have it for.
No, you can eat it at any time, Dean. Right? That's what you told. That's what you said to me.
You told me. Right? You're telling me about the seasons. Any official word on cobbler? By the way, I think any thoughts on cobbler is not considered. Is cobbler pie Cobbler's own category?
Yeah, I mean cobbler's fantastic. I don't know if I consider it a pie though.
I'm not sure. We'll have to ask the judges and get back to you. We got a bunch of teams to rank, boys. Producer Steve is already anxious to rank Philadelphia and Boston. First on my board is, I guess if he really wants to do Philadelphia, Boston, we can. I use the RotoGrinders lineups page, but we'll go with Philadelphia and Boston. Zach Wheeler, Cutter Crawford, 8 total. JT Realmuto is out for a while. No Realmuto for Philadelphia. No Trey Turner for Philadelphia. There is a player with a D on Philadelphia if you want to consider rostering David Dahl for your for your try to win 1 week free of Archie Premium for today's Tournament Tuesday. David Hamilton's available on the Reds. I'm not going to name everybody with D. Don't worry about it. I went through the lineup, so there is enough guys with D, T, and B that you can make yourself some unique lineups for sure. But yeah, not the best Philadelphia lineup here. Good ballpark, obviously, Tim. Philadelphia, Boston. Where are we throwing the Phillies and the Red Sox?
Yeah, so definitely the Red Sox are easy. They're mincemeat pie. No questions asked about that one. Not huge on the Phillies, but the Phillies are a pretty strong team. So I would put them probably in the middle. So yeah, I'd go middle of the road for Philly.
Yoshida back for Boston, but that's still not going to help, right? Wheeler's too good, and this Boston team's not spectacular. Where do you have any issues here, Bobby? Shall we move on, or are you good with where Tim has set the board?
No issues. I really like Schwarber on the Philly side tonight, for what it's worth. I think he's a really good play. But outside of that, like the regulars, Harper. You could always play Castellanos, but that's pretty much it from the Philly side.
Bobby, we have the Rockies back in Minnesota tonight. 8.5 is a total. Minnesota is a team total just above 5.02. If you want to get all technical, that's Cal Quantrill versus Louis Varland. Where are you putting the Rockies and the Twins?
Rockies for sure, and mincemeat, even though I don't love Varland.
What about
For
leverage?
the Twins, I'll say, Pete, you don't need leverage like that on a 14-game slate, right?
Yeah, 12, but yeah.
12, yeah. Pecan would be fine for the Twins. Royce Lewis is on fire. If you're playing twin stacks, make sure you play him.
All right, Tim in Minnesota and Pecan, and we have Colorado down there hanging with Mama Tides and the Red Sox with minced meat. Any issues?
Yeah, definitely no issues yet. No issues at all.
Pittsburgh, St. Louis, 7.5. Pretty paltry as far as the total. Not the best ballpark to hit homers in either. Michaelis versus Paul Skeens. Pittsburgh, of course, the favorite here with Skeens on the mound, Tim. Where do you have the Pirates and the Cardinals?
So I'm actually Cardinals definitely a mincemeat, and then I'm actually going to put the Pirates in pecan because they're very, very cheap going up against a pitcher who can't strike out anyone. So, and the Pirates are simming really, really well. So I'm going to put the Pirates in pecan.
Can you just re-sim for me with our new pitcher here for Seattle, because he's popping up in a lot of stuff that I'm seeing.
Yeah, I don't think they've updated it yet, but I will when they do.
The chat's saying he's popping up in every single lineup, so I think maybe the Sims have not updated. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, the Sims haven't.
Gotcha. Yeah, I have Diaz popping up in 73% of my lineups, and I think I capped it at 73%. Our actual projection on him is 16 fantasy points in the median projection. Oof, man, he's going to be popular. And again, he was fully stretched out until his last start, and I think he probably pitched a lot of pitches. I didn't see the actual pitch count. Well, he only went 3 innings, but he walked like 5 guys. This is interesting. I think Diaz is going to be popular on DK as an SB2, and just kind of, you get one of the big boys in either Skeens or Wheeler, and you pair him with Diaz. We're just going to do this in the fly here, Bobby. But what do you think of Diaz as chalky? You have any thoughts on that?
Might change how I feel on Varland a little bit. Probably get some Varland at that point, but I do think that he's 4K. Like, I don't think I'll be above the field or anything, but he'll be in my pool.
All right, let's jump back to Marlins and Mets. Bobby, you're up here. Luzardo versus Tyler McGill. 7.5 total. Another pitcher's ballpark. Mets are the favorites here, coming back from this is their first game since the London series over the weekend against Philadelphia. Maybe a little bit of jet lag if you want to. They got the day off yesterday, right? They had the day off going in as well. Friday they were off, and I believe Monday they were off. But it's a bit of a trip, 9-10 hours, give or take, maybe 11 hours. I don't recall what it was exactly. Marlins, Mets. Where are we throwing them on the board here? This is Bobby.
Put Mets and Pumpkin. Marlins, I'll go minced meat. I just don't enjoy playing the Marlins bats that often. So I don't know. I like Alonso and Vientos for the Mets. I think they work well for Pumpkin for me.
The best argument for the Marlins is they're cheap, right? Outside of Jazz, like Bell's pretty cheap, Berger's pretty cheap, but otherwise, yeah, they're not great. Tim, any issues here? Mets right in the middle with Pumpkin, and the Marlins in hanging out with minced meat.
Marlins and mincemeat is fine. I'd go Mets and strawberry rhubarb.
Oof. You know what? I agree with you. A little bit of jet lag. Well, let's throw them in strawberry rhubarb. We still have nothing in Apple. There's no elite stacks just yet. Maybe one is coming. This will be Tim. Tim, you're up now. It's Brent Suter. It's a bullpen game here for Cincinnati. I think, who are we expecting to be the long man? I have this written down here someplace. Nick Martinez, I think, is the likely long man for Cincy, but officially it's a bullpen game here. But, I'm going out of order. Is that producer Steve typing that? Because he started us off out of order. Steve started us off out of order. I had to go back. Unbelievable.
You just went to a 6:40 game back to a 6:10 game. What do you mean?
Wait a second. There's no 6:40 games. What time zone are you in? You're in Nashville time.
7:40, same thing.
The first game I had was Mets and Marlins, and you started off with Philadelphia, Boston, so it's a real thing. And it's been a domino effect from there. I think we're both kind of thrown off a little bit as far as the games. My apologies. I'm making your life more difficult. Which game are we on now? Yeah, Cleveland and Cincinnati. I think we're back on track. Suter versus McKenzie. Awesome ballpark to hit baseballs in. We have a 2 coin toss here, Tim. 4.5 total on both sides. Where do we have the Guardians and the Reds? Tim, this is all yours.
This wasn't a bullpen game. I would put Cleveland in the apple category, but I'm going to put both teams in pecan. Great home run spot, I think, for the Reds. Great overall spot for Cleveland. Just a little bit less excited to play them due to it being a bullpen game.
Bobby?
I'm in agreement with Tim with Cleveland and Cincinnati both being in pecan. Eric had a call in chat earlier. Will Benson tonight. I really like Will Benson at the back end of that Cincinnati order versus McKenzie. McKenzie's a fly ball pitcher, so make sure you have guys like Friedel, Steer, Ellie De La Cruz, Candelario. I like all the Cincinnati Reds. So, yeah, pecan works.
Yeah, I wish he wasn't hitting ninth and not at home, but yeah, I mean, in theory, some power, some speed. Don't mind it. Good ballpark as well. Okay, so which games are up next? I think it's Toronto and Milwaukee. We should be back on track. The 8-10 game, 7-10 if you are in Central Time Zone. Bobby, we got Toronto at the Brewers. Carlos Rodriguez taking on Yusei Kikuchi. 8.5 is the total. True coin toss here, basically as far as the team totals here, both around 4.25. One of the better ballparks that baseball's in. Blue Jays, Brewers. Bobby, it's yours.
Have them both in strawberry rhubarb. I think that would be where I'd put both of them. I think you can make a case for mincemeat for the Brewers. Just don't really love playing Toronto too much.
Tim?
Yeah, I'd go Toronto probably in pumpkin, and then I'd go Milwaukee in rhubarb.
That's where I would go as well. Yeah, let's go to Toronto in pumpkin and Milwaukee in strawberry rhubarb.
2-0 Tim. 2-0 Tim on Dean's board.
You think is it personal? Is that what's happening? You're keeping a score, and
Seems a little
I'm only
personal.
I'm impartial. I only come in when I have to break a tie, and I'm gonna be. I call it right down the middle, right down the middle.
I'm petty, Dean. Just watch out. I'm petty.
All right. The next tiebreaker is going to be. It's like in hockey when you call a penalty, then you kind of owe the other team another penalty. That's how I owe you one. Any sort of tiebreaker.
You don't have to give me anything, Dean. You don't have to give me anything. Karma. It's karma. Karma will come back to you.
Karma. Well, like what if it was 2-0 you? Like Tim could say the same thing.
You could.
All right. Yankees, Royals. 9.5 is the total. We finally got a team total above 5.06 if you want to get all technical there. Yankees locked in for 9 innings on the road. We have Judge back. We got Stanton back against Brady Singer. Stroman on the other side. Kansas City still, obviously a pretty good offense. They got Vinny Pasquantino's back today as well. No lefty starting on the other side. This is Bobby's board. No, this is Tim's board. I don't recall who's up now. Because we had a little
my
banter
board.
there.
My board, Dean.
Okay,
Yankees
can't wait
and
to
Apple. Yankees and Apple. Judge, Soto, Verdugo. Probably the guys that I think are profiling the best from the Yankees currently. And then KC, I would put in pecan. I think good weather edge game there, courtesy of Roth. Like MJ Melendez can always play Bobby Witt. Salvatore Perez, I think, is in play. Velasquez as well. So, like KC a good bit.
All right, Tim, any issues?
Yeah, no issues at all. I'm glad that Bobby brought up weather edge. Huge advantage for home runs. Huge dew point. Winds blowing a little bit out to center. So, yeah, huge ballpark boost at KC. So love the Yankees tonight.
It's a big enough sample for Bobby too. It's 163 games. That's
a big sample.
Yeah, almost too big. Bobby likes a smaller sample. 163 games. It's a little bit more than a full season. 19% bump in homers, 84 degrees. Wind blowing out 6 miles per hour. Mostly, basically dead center, left center. A bump in runs at 9.7%.
Do you see the dew point, Dean? Do you see
The
that?
dew point is 60. I don't know what that means, though. What is a 60? I need Kirkwood for this. What does that mean?
Yeah.
Educate me.
According to Kirkwood, that is a massive dew point.
Is he saying this? Like, what's a good dew point number? I genuinely don't know.
I can't go any further. It's trademarked. It's trademarked.
Bobby, do you have access to Kirkwood's dew point model? Can you speak on this?
No. Me and Kirkwood are like friends, but he doesn't let me in the secret chat or the dew point model group. So
Yeah.
like a tertiary friend.
You're in my tier, basically. He doesn't allow me to. I don't get to enjoy the bells and the whistles either, unfortunately. But okay, let's move on. Good hitting environment. And I've heard Cardi talk a couple times about it this year about how Kansas City has progressively become like a sneakier, like good hitting ballpark over the years. All right, White Sox versus Seattle. It's now Jonathan Diaz versus Drew Thorpe. 7 total. I'm not sure if that total has changed or not. But yeah, White Sox and Seattle. This is yours, Tim.
This is a tough one because I don't mind getting to some Seattle most slates because they do have decent power. So I would say Seattle would go into the middle tier for me. And then White Sox are not going to be mincemeat anymore. They're going to be in the strawberry rhubarb.
Slightly upgraded the rhubarb because the pitching changed there. Thorpe versus Diaz. Any issues here, Bobby? We go with the Seattle in the middle, and the White Sox getting the upgrade to the old strawberry rhubarb. I'm going to Google that. What does that look like?
I think that works for me, just because like we don't know what Diaz is, right, with the White Sox, so you can jump them from mincemeat to rhubarb. Seattle always has that upside, so yeah, pumpkin works.
Diaz, by the way, is a lefty. Doesn't appear to be a bit of a prospect because he's 27 at this point, so I think he's kind of past his prospect status. So far this season, 66 innings in the minors, 67 strikeouts, a 1.16 whip, which is pretty good, I guess. He was rough last time out with a bunch of walks, but otherwise he's been okay. I think he's pitched in the majors too. Haven't we seen this guy maybe for Philadelphia or something? I'm going to Google and find out more about this Jonathan Diaz character, but we shall move on and power rank some more teams. Next up is the Angels. The Angels and the D-backs, 9 total. Jordan Montgomery, who's been a disaster this year. Jose Suarez, kind of a spot starter. This board is Bobby's. Angels, Diamondbacks. What do you got for me? Oh, the scoreboard is 2-0 for the mute scoreboard.
Oh,
wow.
But Steve, give him the big mute. Give him the big mute. Throw it up on the screen. He likes to, there's an official scoreboard. I think he has access to it. Go ahead, Bobby. Tell us about the Angels. There it is. You count 2. You can't see that on the screen.
Arizona would be in Pecan for me. Christian Walker. A lot of good bats on Arizona that you can play. Specifically, I like Christian Walker. I think it's a good spot for him. The Angels versus a lefty, Joe Adell. I think the Angels are always sneaky, so pumpkin works.
Tim?
Yeah, I completely agree with Bobby. I do think Arizona is going to be fairly high owned, though, which is kind of weird on such a large slate. But I don't mind them in Pecan. And I don't mind Angels and Pumpkin, so I'm fine with that.
Moreno is batting second there for Arizona, so cheap catcher. Carroll he's in the 7 hole, just been a disaster all season long. Speculation in him being hurt. The squad ride, if you guys rode with us last night, that was a W in the old Discord. I'm currently leading the squad. We have a 1-game winning streak, and we have the Angels on the over today. Team total runs at 3.5, I believe is the number. So if you want to ride with the squad once again, feel free to jump aboard and just hang out in the Squad Ride channel in the Discord, RotoGrinders.com/ Squad Rides, I guess it is. You can find it. Just get in the Discord, and it's very, very simple to go ahead and find that as well. See, Kirkwood has popped up for us in the chat. Apparently his model loves Minnesota. All right. So Michael was saying, Tim, he was saying that you would like this show called A Prairie Home Companion. Are you aware of this? Did you read about this in chat?
I have not. I've never heard of it.
Yeah, he said he missed the pie explanation, but is rhubarb a pie from that NPR show, A Prairie Home Companion? Okay, that show seems like it's right up Tim's alley. So I don't know if there's sarcasm in that or not. I can't say I've seen it before or heard it before.
I've never heard of it.
There you go. All right. We have 3 games left. We got crunch time coming in about 10 minutes or so. We got Kevin Roth, Dave Potts, Keith Eyster. Let's knock out. I guess we're still waiting for lineups, right, from these games for Oakland and San Diego. JP Sears taking on Randy Vasquez. I want to get an update as far as ownership stuff as well, and I want to see if our SimLabs stuff has updated with the new pitcher here for Seattle, Jonathan Diaz. But, yeah, Sears versus Vasquez. Tim, I believe this is your board.
Yeah, so I would go Oakland in strawberry rhubarb, and I would go San Diego. I think I'd go San Diego in pecan, actually. I actually really want to put them in apple, but they're so gutless. I don't have the guts to do it.
You can do it. It's your board. I mean, you know,
No, I know.
Not to sway you or anything.
Yeah, put them all the way to the top. They're going to be so low owned. I really like them tonight. So that's going to be my stand tonight.
They were my favorite team last night. They almost got me there. I was winning I think I was winning the 25 single entry until Cal Raleigh, big dumper, took a dump all over my lineups because he hit a walk-off grand slam, which, by the way, should have been thrown out of the game like 4 innings earlier. And not to be that guy, but he was talking smack to the umpire, and you just can't talk to the umpire. You're supposed to throw those guys out. His manager jumped in at the last second, and he got thrown out of the game, and then he gets a walk-off grand slam, and my lineups plummeted. So I'm not bitter about that at all. Can you hear it in my voice? No, definitely not. Bobby, what do you have here as far as San Diego and Oakland? It was a juggalo bomb. That was Kirkwood's fault. Unbelievable.
San Diego's too gutless for me to put in apple. I'll put them in pecan. Tatis has been on fire. Profar has been extremely good as well. Machado's there versus a lefty. But yeah, they're pecan for me. Yeah, where do I want to put Oakland? Yeah, strawberry rhubarb works. I like Rooker tonight for what it's worth. I like Rooker.
I like Rooker too. I don't mind Blade either. Soderstrom is an interesting, cheap source of power, assuming he cracks the lineup. I kind of like. I would put him in rhubarb. We're gonna have to move San Diego down. I guess we're moving them to pecan because you want them in pumpkin, so we're not gonna move them all the way down to pumpkin.
No, I wanted them in pecan.
Oh, I thought I heard. Okay, so now, oh boy, I was supposed to
2-1.
I kind of want to keep San Diego up top in apple, and it's not personal. I'm keeping San Diego in apple. I'm with Tim. I kind of manipulated Tim to put a San Diego up top. If you heard that, he said at the top of the show he's very easily manipulated when it comes to food, and I guess rankings as well, I suppose. But all right, Houston and San Fran, 8 is the total. Blanco, who still has a ridiculous.
We lost Dean or me.
No, I think we lost Dean.
That
We lost
my
him.
mutes go away. My mutes go
Right,
away.
yeah. So who are we ranking? Houston and who? Houston and
Houston and
Houston,
San
San
Fran.
Francisco. Yeah,
Both
Houston,
the
San Fran, Bobby. What do you want?
For me, they're both pumpkin. Jordan's obviously a really good play. I like Conforto for San Francisco. Also like Soler. Patrick Bailey is actually my favorite San Francisco bat. Pumpkin for both.
Yeah, I think that I would go pumpkin for both. Definitely Houston's kind of scary stacked lineup, so they definitely do have some upside. So yeah, pumpkin for both Houston and San Fran. And then the last game, I believe, is Texas and the Dodgers, Bobby. What do you got for me there?
We'll do Apple for the Dodgers, specifically the lefty Shohei Freeman, but you can play all the Dodgers. Hayward would be like the salary saver. Texas would be versus Paxton. I think you made a good point. Pecan, just with the walks, guys like Semien, Adolis Garcia, I think they're good bats that you can kind of get in there for Texas. And if they go off, they'll be one of the lower owned stacks, I would imagine. So, yeah, this is Dean's karma, by the way. Just throwing it out there. He was going to get it.
Yeah, so I absolutely love the Dodgers tonight. They're one of the reasons why I don't want to double barrel at pitching is because I have to get to some of these Dodgers lefties. Ohtani, Freeman, even guys like Lux are in amazing spots tonight against Dunning. And then also, I mean, the Rangers against Paxton, they should really get to get to him pretty easily. So I'm going to go Dodgers in Apple, and I'm going to go Rangers in Pecan, just like you, Bobby. That game's got a lot upside to it. I really like that game. I might bet the over in that game.
Yeah, where everyone's going to be like spread out at bats, just play the Dodgers, right? Like we're in a situation where it's the Dodgers and then everyone else, usually every night on most slates. And now you're getting them low owned. Just easy for me to get those Dodgers lefties in there. I couldn't imagine not playing Dodgers on a lot of my teams tonight.
Yeah, and we don't like to play hot streaks, but I mean, Teoscar is just crushing the ball lately. So I mean, I don't mind adding him as part of your stack. Definitely very, very high on the Dodgers. You got any home run calls for the people, Bobby?
I'm gonna go Kyle Schwarber. He's gonna be my home run call for tonight for the Phillies. I think he'll be one of the lesser owned big spends bats on the slate. So I like Schwarber a good bit.
Yeah, so I just bet Freddie Freeman plus 450. I really like that one against Dunning. So I think that's a pretty solid line for such a good spot. Yeah, Teoscar is plus 500. That's not horrible. I can't even find a line on Ohtani. I wonder what his odds are. Oh, he's okay. He's plus 225. I'm not betting that. So, but I mean, that just shows how much the books love him against Dunning tonight. So, yeah.
Pretty much home runs. Yeah, we're waiting for Dean, and we don't really. He's not here, obviously. So it's tough without a host. I'll say that.
I know.
You should respect Dean more. Give him more credence.
List off for the
forward.
audio listeners what the categories were, who's in which.
Yeah, so for our top stacks tonight, it's in Apple. We got the New York Yankees, we got the Padres, we got the Dodgers. Then next ranking down, we got the Twins, the Pirates, the Reds, the Guardians, the Royals, the D-backs, and the Rangers. Then right in the middle, we've got the Phillies, the Blue Jays, the Mariners, the Angels, the Astros, and the Giants. And then our two bottom tiers, we got the Mets, Brewers, White Sox, A's, and the Red Sox, Rockies, Cardinals, and Marlins.
TJ doesn't see Dean in chat and he just wants to immediately hop in as host. I respect it. He's coming for that job.
Yeah, Dean has disappeared. It's like my internet yesterday. Just like
I had to sneak down to Florida and cut the wires, you know.
Yeah, we got a question in chat. O'Neal Cruz tonight, whenever I play, he goes 0 for 4 with 4 Ks. Yeah, I understand that. I love O'Neal Cruz. I love the Pirates tonight. Considered putting them in our top tier. Don't mind if you stack the Pirates and play Cruz at all. So, yeah. So no, I definitely love O'Neal Cruz. How many Pirates are you getting into Pirates tonight, Bobby?
The Pirates are the one team that I really haven't gone through in terms of their pitch mix. So we'll see. They're cheap, right?
They're super cheap.
Yeah.
I'm really looking hard at, getting some Dodgers and then some cheap Pirates as in my single entry team.
Yeah, I think that makes sense. Dodgers, I can't get away from the Dodgers, even though the offense is so spread out tonight. Like, we talked about Freeman, Ohtani. You said Lux. Like, I'll play some Lux tonight too. So, yeah, all the Dodgers.
Well, I guess we got crunch time in here, so let's bring them into the show. I wonder if Dean's eating pie right now. I wonder if that's why he quit on us.
Probably. It was a good pie list. Whose list was it?
It's Tim's.
Literally a damn near perfect pie list. I love pumpkin pie. I'd have had a little higher, but really, really stellar pie list.
Yeah, I thought I should have put key lime pie somewhere. I'm kind of bummed that I didn't. But there's so many pies.
So
It's hard.
it's
hard.
98%
Someone in
of them
chat
are
said-
freaking amazing.
Someone in chat said Dean's eating humble pie right now.
Someone said he's another kind of pie that we cannot discuss also. I was waiting for one of you. There is. I was waiting for someone to do a Dean and say, we live in a world of a salary cap. We are back, Dean.
We do live in the world of a salary cap and also funky internet. It's storming here, so I guess that's what happened here. My apologies. I missed the last 10 minutes of the show, but I'm sure it was spectacular. You guys requested pie, so Tim set the board. Was there any major grievances with the pie board?
I approve. Cheese, you're a big pie guy. Anything you saw there that upset you?
Honestly, I'm so busy trying to change out all my lineups. I did not see the order of the pies. Will you read it back to me?
It was
What was the order of the pies?
We
Okay.
had apple. There we go. Apple, pecan, pumpkin, strawberry rhubarb, and then minced meat pie at the bottom.
That's nice. It's hard to find a bottom tier pie. I like it.
Right. You did.
Yeah,
good.
that's pretty good. Yeah.
I thought pizza got snubbed. What do you think, Dave?
Well, that would be interesting too. I can go either way on that. Yeah.
You can't include pizza pie on a pie list, Dean.
It's
I've
not,
never
not
even heard
pie.
of pie. Never heard of it.
You know, like a pizza pie.
But I was my internet was connected. I figured I'd just pop in and say hello and goodbye. But yeah, did I miss anything? I'm sure it was spectacular. But crunch time's coming. Did you guys give out the taters? The taters happened?
We gave them out, Dean. Yep. Tim did a great
Yeah.
job hosting. It's fantastic. You know, it's karma, Dean. You called me out for the mutes and you end up off the show for 10 minutes.
I got muted for like 10 minutes. Well, it's been real. It was fun. But I'm going to step aside and get out here and make way for crunch time on behalf of Tim and Bobby. Thanks for watching the first portion. Do hit that like button. Do subscribe. Do turn on those notifications. Also join our contest. That's currently the Discord channel. Use the one way you have to win. You got to make sure you have to have one player with a first name with a T, starts with T, and homage to Tim. One player in your roster with the first name that starts with a B, and homage to Bobby. And of course, one with a first initial first name, not last name, that starts with D. I'm not sure if that's been closed up just yet, but if not, go ahead, get yourself a week free of RotoGrinders Premium and 2 weeks free if you happen to be rocking the RG badge. All right, crunch time. Roth, take it away.
Good stuff. As always, welcome to it, ladies and gents. It is crunch time. I have no idea what Dean was just talking about. You need one guy with the first letter. I don't know what the heck's going on there, but join that contest. Good luck. If you can figure out all those rules, good luck to you. Welcome to RG Crunch Time. There's 3 of us, 2 of the sharpest minds in the biz. Back to the usual setup. We got my guy Keith Eyster in the house. What up, Ice?
Not too much. Massive slate. Some might call it bananas. Some might use another fruit. But yeah, this is a wild one, so it'd be fun to break it down.
Cheese, is this slate bananas?
And like an hour ago, we got a swap from an ace pitcher to a 4K pitcher in an ideal matchup. It's like super double banana. It's like banana split now. This is all over the place.
Nice.
I'm frazzled because like this is the one problem with being a hand builder. Like, is that I don't actually have time to do all the changes I would do. So, this slate is boysenberry or something.
Okay. Yes. Yeah. It's mince pie. Let's how about I talk to Ice for a little bit and you do some changes that you need to get done? Does that sound good?
Oh, you're okay. Because the next problem now, the computer that I sit on to do this, when I make changes, even though I'm in the same house, my computer's right there, DraftKings will flag my account and lock it because they think it's a different location. So I'm stuck now.
Wow.
It's crazy. It is bananas.
It is. Yeah. I'm sorry. That seems like a real bummer. Well,
It's happened twice, and they're like, "Yeah, you got this thing on." They think I'm in. They think I'm in my house, but at a different location, and it's not okay.
Yeah. I'm sorry to hear that. All right. So let's kind of dive into it. I guess the slate was already crazy. Walk me through why it was crazy, and then let's walk through how it's crazier now. And Cheese, I guess you can kind of start us off.
Yeah, it was crazy on the hitting side in that it's just all over the place. Like there's at least 10 teams, probably more, that have very realistic slate winning upside. A lot of absolutely elite, like all the best hitters in the league you want to spend 6K on or 4K on FanDuel are on the slate in pretty good matchups. We have plenty of value. We have a couple expensive pitchers that are really great. And then we have several cheap pitchers adding on an extra one that are in superb matchups.
So now you can't get to the 4K pitcher that would let you get to all the 6K backs that you want to get.
Yeah,
Tough spot.
I ended up getting up to about 35% on Diaz, which so it's not like I don't have any. We're all good.
Okay. All right. Well, then walk me through what the pitcher slate is, and then we'll bring in Ice, and we'll get his thoughts on what he's doing with the 4K pitcher as well. But you can lead us off, Cheese.
Yes. So essentially, we were going to have a three-way split of Skeens, Wheeler, and Brian Wu. So Brian Wu disappears, and now I would say Skeens and Wheeler basically split up the high-end ownership. But there's so many cheap pitchers that I still don't think we're talking like super chalk on these pitchers. I do think Skeens will come in fairly well ahead of Wheeler. So making Wheeler a pretty interesting spend up to be different, especially now that, I mean, you can pair Wheeler with the super cheap guy or even Varland or McGill or something, which we'll touch on now. So even before this change, I had absolutely zero interest in anyone outside of Skeens and Wheeler or the cheap guys in good matchups, which would be Louis Varland against the Rockies, Tyler McGill against Miami, and now Jonathan Diaz against the White Sox. For me, that's it. I have 5 pitchers in my pool. Drew Thorpe was kind of in there earlier too. I guess he still is. I think I have a couple Drew Thorpe lineups left, but on DraftKings, he's 7,700. And now that we have a 4K guy who's probably better in a better matchup, like I think it's silly. So I'm down to a 5-pitcher pool. If I were building my lineup starting now, that's it. On DK, Skeens, Wheeler, McGill, Varland, Diaz. And then on FanDuel, it's really just 3 guys, Skeens, Wheeler, and Varland, because McGill is priced up.
Can you go double cheap? Can you go Diaz, Varland?
And it's glory. A lot of people are going to do it, but there's so many spend up bats. It's not an obvious lineup. Like you can play Bobby Witt, Aaron Judge, and Jose Ramirez, or you can play Ohtani, Ellie De La Cruz, and Freddie Freeman, or you can play Marcus Semien and William Madris, and like you can do all. Like it's not just if you go double cheap, this is your lineup. Like there's a slew of 6K bats, so I love it.
Oh, very fun. Okay, well, let's bring in Ice. I'm curious how big your pitcher pool is and kind of what your exposure is to some of these guys, in particular, the 4K dude, Diaz.
Yeah, I'm spreading out a little bit more than Cheese is, but I mean, it's the same guys up top. It's very obviously Skeens and Wheeler have the most upside on the slate. Wu was projecting to be quite popular. In fact, he was projected early in the day to be the most popular. And I wanted to be underweight on Wu just because I didn't think the ceiling was there. So I'm a little frustrated that all of that Wu ownership is now going to Skeens and Wheeler, who were the guys that I was planning on being overweight on. Skeens is the guy that I definitely want. He has a 35% strikeout rate. I mean, he's one of the best pitching prospects we've ever seen. St. Louis has been really good on offense recently, but I'm going to take Skeens to win this matchup. I was going to be a lot more over the field on him than I probably will be now, because I still want to get to plenty of Wheeler. He has a ton of upside for different reasons. He has one of the longest leashes in baseball. Tough hitters park there in Boston, but Boston has a lot of strikeouts in their lineup. Also, I'm getting up to those guys as much as I can. I like a couple guys in the mid-range that Cheese is not including. Luzardo is a little bit too cheap. Gets a really good pitcher's ballpark going into Citi Field. In a matchup against the Mets, like the Mets don't strike out a ton. Luzardo has shown fantastic strikeout stuff in the past. He's had a little bit of an up and down season. He was starting to put it together, and then he just got blown up in his last start against the Rays. He gave up like 9 runs or something like that. But he's a better pitcher than his $8,100 price tag, in my opinion. So I think he has solid upside, even if it's not the best strikeout matchup. I think with the park there, he can go pretty deep into this game. He had a couple of games over 90 pitches before just getting blown up in this last one. So I like the price tag on Luzardo a good amount. Kikuchi is interesting. I have just a sprinkle of him. His strikeouts have kind of come down as the season has gone along, Milwaukee's been a really good offense this season, but they've struggled a little bit against lefties. So just a pinch of Kikuchi for me. The cheap stuff is where it's really tough to swallow some of this ownership. For me, my favorite guy down there is Tyler McGill. He's also the most expensive outside of Drew Thorpe, who I have a little bit of interest in as well. McGill gets the Marlins, who they have no power at all. They also don't walk at all, and walks have kind of been McGill's issue here. The strikeouts look really good. He's up at 27% in a limited sample this year. 7,300 is too cheap for his upside, in my opinion. The 4K pitcher definitely throws a wrench into things. I was going to be fading Louis Varland, or at least be significantly underweight on him. Obviously, it's a great matchup against Colorado. He's an okay pitcher. I think that for a little bit more with a guy like McGill, I could have got a lot more upside. Now you throw a guy who's 4K, and he just lets you do different things with roster construction. So I think you have to consider him, especially with as many elite bats are on the slate, as Cheese was kind of alluding to. I don't love Jonathan Diaz. We've seen him in the majors in a couple of brief, really more relief appearances, but he hasn't been able to strike anybody out so far. And we're talking 15 innings or something like that. He's been a little bit better with strikeouts in the minors, around 22%. It's the matchup against the White Sox, though. He's 4K. He's fully stretched out. You're probably getting 80+ pitches from a 4K pitcher in the best possible matchup you can ask for. So it's hard to say no to that. I'm currently probably just going to play him with the field right around 30%, not take a big stand there. Still end up a little bit underweight on Varland. The other guy if it was a different slate, I would have a lot more interest in. It's Tristan McKenzie. He's going into a horrible ballpark for his pitching style, but his strikeouts have really started to come around this season. He started off this season, and he was walking more guys than he was striking out. He's improved upon that. The walks are still an issue. The other issue is he's a huge fly ball guy going into the best home run park in baseball. So extreme risk. I'm not sure that it's worth taking the risk. I do have him in a sprinkle of my lineups at about 10%, just because I think there's some strikeout upside in this matchup, but he could also give up 3 or 4 home runs, and nobody would be surprised by that.
Okay. Seen a bunch of other names. We've run through a lot of pitchers, and I'm still seeing other names pop up in the chat. So let me run a few by you here. I'm just David says, how about Ronel Blanco? What about Cutter? I think they're no JP Sears. So that's 3 other pitchers that people are playing.
Blanco's just too expensive. His strikeouts have come down. He has not looked near as good as he did early in the season. San Francisco is not a high strikeout lineup. I don't see him paying off this price tag, especially with the recent form that he's been in. Cutter Crawford, that's just a matchup for me. Tough ballpark there in Fenway. Philly's one of the best offenses in baseball. I just don't need him on this slate. And who was the other one? JP Sears.
Yep.
Really, really tough matchup against San Diego. They've been one of the best offenses in baseball this season, and they make a ton of contact as well. So not a very good strikeout matchup at all for Sears.
Okay, fair enough. Cheese, I do want to ask you a question with Diaz here. First off, is he a must in cash? I mean, you have a fully stretched out 4K pitcher. Maybe not a must, but is he the play in cash? Great matchup, 4K. How can he not be?
I would play him in cash. Yeah.
Okay.
I think you play Diaz, and I would not play Diaz and Varland in cash. You don't need that much salary. I would play
Skeens.
Diaz. Yeah.
That's okay. That's what I figured. And then Cheese, if you were starting from scratch right now, how much Diaz would you have? Because I'm surprised.
50%.
Okay. I was surprised, Ice, that you're only going 30%. This feels like kind of an all-in spot, but I guess the thing is there's just a bunch of other pitchers that you like.
Yeah, I just think that there's a lot more strikeout upside in the 7-8K range, and so I'm going to sacrifice an elite bat or two. Part of the reason is I like a couple of cheaper stacks. Arizona's fairly priced. The Angels are fairly priced. I love that game. So I don't need to get up to Judge and Tatis in every lineup. I want to.
But you know how fun that is, though? You should.
It is fun. It is fun. But if Diaz only goes 5 innings and 3 strikeouts and gets you 12 points, I think I can beat that with a different construction.
Yeah. Okay. Tim, by the way, saying he is playing Diaz in cash. So I'm sure a lot of people are asking that. Let's see. DFS Pope says, hey, if you're only playing 2 lineups, do you play Diaz? I feel like if he's the cash option, then absolutely he's viable if you're only playing, 1 or 2 lineups or single entry. Let's talk about the stacks. And Ice, you kind of transition there. You like some cheaper stacks, but let's walk through what I assume is a smorgasbord of good options over there as well.
Yeah, just so many options. It's hard to even narrow down the pool. That's how many good options there are. The game in Great American Ballpark is very attractive for reasons I mentioned, with Tristan McKenzie being a huge fly ball pitcher. The Reds are going with a bullpen game with an opener, and then we're expecting Nick Martinez behind him. But Cleveland is definitely on my top stacks just because of the massive ballpark upgrade there. The Reds for their home run potential against a massive fly ball pitcher. I love the Arizona game as well. The Diamondbacks and the Angels, both sides of that, both teams facing lefties, and both teams are weirdly enough pretty bad against right-handed pitching, but both are very good against left-handed pitching. So I love the both sides of that game as well. The Dodgers and the Yankees, they're in great spots. The Yankees in Kansas City, where it's really good hitting weather. Brady Singer's an above-average pitcher when he's right. He's not exactly been right here recently, but those are the two best offenses in baseball. I don't like their matchups as much as I like the first four teams that I mentioned. So I'm not prioritizing those expensive teams and getting overweight on them like I am the top four that I mentioned: the Reds, Guardians, Diamondbacks, and Angels. The other team I really like today is the Padres. As I mentioned, they've been a top 10 offense this season. They get a matchup against a fly ball guy as well in JP Sears. Sears has also been really fortunate with his batted ball luck this season. So Padres back to full health with Machado in the lineup. Tatis looks amazing. Profar has been amazing against lefties and overall, in fact. So really like the Padres. The Rangers against James Paxton are quite interesting to me. Paxton just has completely lost his strikeout ability. He is walking way too many guys as well. Those are my primary stacks. I'll stop there and let Cheese expand on any if he wants, but there certainly are more options if you want more.
Okay, Cheese, you want to give your favorite stacks here?
Sort of. I mean, part of the reason I'm going so narrow at pitcher is because I am so spread out of stacks. I'm not gonna play all of everyone on both sides of the ledger. So I'm just, but I am playing essentially all the offense. I would rank them. My top tier is the Reds, the Yankees, Diamondbacks, Angels, Dodgers.
And then you've got another tier that you're okay with.
Oh, yeah, that I'm more than okay with. Yeah. But I'll just stop there. And I will say I have a lot of lineups that are not full stacks, a lot of like 3-3-2s. And because with the cheap pitching, I'm not going to play Randall Grichuk to round out a stack when I can just play Aaron Judge. This is where I'm at in a lot of these lineups.
Yeah. Is it crazy to leave a bunch of money on the table here? I guess it is crazy because the ownership's going to be spread.
Because there's so many elite bats to spend up for that. You're not really seeing condensed ownership on any of them.
Okay. All right. That's fair. Good stuff, guys. This is an interesting slate. I might play just for the hell of it. And I rarely ever play.
You can play two pitchers and only use $10,000. I know you want to play that.
Yeah. Now that you put it that way,
they might be terrible, but does it even matter?
No, it doesn't. I'm getting a lineup in
now.
You
play all hitters that you've heard of.
Yeah, it's hard to do, but I think we can do it today. I think with that, we can kind of dive into it. We'll go around the horn. We'll go position by position. We'll open it up for questions after that. Of course, we'll give some bomb picks. Cheese, why don't you start us off with some catcher talk?
All right. Contreras is definitely my favorite spend up. And I do like Sal Perez as well. I think Gabriel Moreno would have been fairly chalky, and he's certainly still the cheap cash game guy if you need one. But I much prefer Logan O'Hoppe in the mid tier. I've got a little bit of David Fry as a spend up to be different. A little bit of Jeffers and Jansen. And then I also like Gary Sanchez and Cal Raleigh. I know it's a lot of names, but that's just what it is.
Yeah. Ice, you got some names for me?
Very similar names, and it's a very strong position. I love David Fry up at the top Just low ownership. He's been incredible this season. In the mid-range, I love Ohapi and Moreno as well. Moreno got a nice little lineup order bump here against a lefty. Cal Raleigh is certainly always viable for a home run. Gary Sanchez in that mid-range as well against a pitcher who's known to give up home runs in Kikuchi. I'll add Tyler Stevenson of the Reds against the fly ball pitcher in a great home run park.
Okay, how about first base? Joey Ortiz scratched, by the way, according to TJ.
Okay.
Not
right,
right away, does it? No.
What was that,
a little
Cheese?
later?
No,
I'm just making sure that game doesn't start at lock because I do have a couple Brewer stacks. So.
Okay.
First base, the Dodgers lefties, Ohtani and Freeman are very obvious plays here against Dunning, who struggles with lefty power. Candelario has been pretty good here recently in that great matchup in Great American. Let's see here. Bryce Harper is certainly somebody that you can always play, and nobody's playing him today. Pete Alonso, kind of the same deal. Don't love the matchup for him against Luzardo, but anytime Pete's facing a lefty, you can certainly go that route. Christian Walker is one of my favorite plays on the entire slate. Love him anytime he's facing a lefty. He happens to be facing a pretty poor lefty today as well. If you're looking for something cheap, Rowdy Tellez is really cheap. Don't mind him in that Pittsburgh lineup against a low strikeout pitcher. Vinny Pasquantino against Stroman, who's really struggled with lefties this season, I like as well.
Okay. Cheese, your thoughts?
We're getting some superstar bats at essentially no ownership, like Keith mentioned, like Harper and Alonso are on that list. I think Walker will be a little more popular than we're showing, but still not enough to matter. I do love playing Ohtani and Freeman. I don't love the full stack at their prices, but I do love those two. On DK, I have Candelario some at first and some at third, but he's one of my favorite plays. Hoskins at that same salary. And then I love the very cheap Tyler Soderstrom and or Rowdy Tellez.
Okay, second base, Cheese.
So we've got some values here on the DK side. Like on FanDuel, I guess you need a couple cheap bats on FanDuel if you want to play Wheeler or Skeens. And so Stefanik is leading off for the Angels, and he's minimum salary on both sites. Not a great hitter, like no power, no speed. But he should get on base and score runs, and he's minimum salary. But as far as the spend ups, Marte is definitely my favorite. And Semien is definitely my second favorite. And then there's a pretty big gap after that. Most of the rest of this is kind of just in stack stuff. Gleyber Torres is on my list a little bit. But really, this is the one position where there's really only two guys that I love as individual spend ups with Marte and Semien.
Okay, Ice, you going cheap and saving here as well?
Yeah, I totally agree with the spend ups. Ketel Marte and Marcus Semien are both in fantastic spots today. Stefanik leading off is certainly too cheap. Blaze Alexander is another cheapie that I like. And if you play him at second and leave Marte out of a Diamondback stack, you're going to be a lot different than the field. I don't mind a couple of like that and then spend up at like third or shortstop or something instead of spending up on Marte. But I have a good amount of interest in Blaze Alexander at second or at short.
Okay, how about third base?
At third here, mentioned Candelario at first. You can play him at third as well. Stefanik is that cheapie that we just mentioned at second, has third base eligibility as well. Royce Lewis has been fantastic. He has had trouble staying on the field, but when he's been on the field, he's been incredible. Nice matchup here for him against a low strikeout pitcher. Rengifo for the Angels has been very good against lefties this season. Price tag looks a little wonky on him, like we don't expect him to be a $4,600 hitter, but he's been worth that price tag here this season. Machado back in the San Diego lineup. Love him today against the lefty. Much like the Harper and Alonso play at first base, nobody's playing Rafael Devers today. Nothing says he can't take Zach Wheeler yard, so I don't mind him as a one-off if you want to spend up. I totally missed off the top. Jose Ramirez is in a fantastic spot. Bullpen game for the Reds, but he's a switch hitter, so he'll hold the platoon no matter who the Reds have out there. One of the best hitters on the slate.
Okay. I think that takes us to Cheese. Your thoughts at third?
So Ramirez is the guy that got added to the most of my lineups with the Diaz news. Like, he would have been so off the board. I think he's still kind of off the board, but less so now. And he's far and away my favorite third baseman, and now you can afford him. So I do like him a ton. Royce Lewis is much more of a FanDuel play for me, as is Manny Machado, though they're both fine on DK as well. Again, we've got Candelario in the mid-tier. Suarez is interesting, cheap play. I don't feel like this is a position you need to punt anymore. I did have some Davis Wenzel earlier. I may have one left, but that's one of those. In the lineups I had him, that's the ones I went to look to swap out, go to Diaz, and then get a better play. So for the most part, I'm not punting third base.
Okay, take me to shortstop.
You know I want to do that. Bobby Witt, Ellie De La Cruz. I like Ellie better than Witt, but I love them both. Like, on FanDuel, I have a bunch of both. Mookie Betts, of course, always, but I don't like him. Like, I rank them Ellie and then Witt and then Betts, but they're all just elite, fantastic plays anytime for any reason. And then the mid-tier is very good too. Adames is my favorite. Probably. And then after that, it's like Lindor, Volpe, Correa. It's all kind of a mishmash. And for the most part, I'm trying to correlate those guys, maybe not in a full stack, but like, if I have Judge, then I'll play Volpe. And if I have Alonso, then I'll play Lindor. Just a little correlation. But for the most part, I'm playing Ellie or Witt.
Okay. Ice, your thoughts at short?
Yeah, the 6K guys are amazing. So spending up is certainly an option, but I'm with Cheese. Like, the 4K range is really strong as well. Two of my favorites there are Ha-Seong Kim, who is buried in the lineup these days, but he has been outstanding against lefties in his career.
I forgot to mention. Okay,
Yeah,
thank you. I forgot to mention Cruz. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, O'Neal Cruz against Michaelis, low strikeout pitcher. His biggest issue is strikeouts. So love this matchup for him today. A little bit cheaper for the Angels. Zach Neto has been very good. He's down in the 9 hole, which is not ideal, but I still think he has some upside today.
Okay. I'm just building here. And is it okay if I just have essentially no stack, Cheese? Like, maybe some twos, 2 guys here, 2 guys there?
Everyone else would tell you no. I'm saying absolutely. That's the way to build.
Okay. Makes me feel a lot better. Ice, take me to the outfield.
Yeah, there's so many options as usual. Massive slate. So we could spend all day talking about outfielders, just outfielders if we wanted to. Up at the top, Ohtani has outfield eligibility. Love this matchup for him against Dunning. Judge has been on an absolute tear. He is certainly fantastic. Soto for a little bit cheaper than those guys. Per dollar, my favorite play is Fernando Tatis. Love the matchup against the lefty Sears here for him. Yordan Alvarez is showing extremely low ownership today. Absolutely love that. Mid-range type guys, looking at Lourdes Gurriel for the Diamondbacks. Absolutely love him today. Taylor Ward is a good option for the Angels. Let's see here. Who else do I want to highlight? Let's go a couple of cheaper guys. MJ Melendez against Stroman, mentioned his struggles with lefties. I'm living more in the mid-range today, like that Gurriel range. Really like that range. Jorge Soler as a one-off against Blanco, I certainly don't mind. Let's see if there's any. I think that does it for me.
Okay, great. Cheese, your favorite names in the outfield?
Yeah, the high end is fantastic. I rank them Ohtani, Judge, Soto, Tatis, and then Adolis Garcia and Alvarez. And then there's more, but it's all great. I love Taylor Ward, especially on FanDuel where he's cheap. I love Joe Adell, especially on DK where he's cheaper. Gurriel, like Keith mentioned. There's plenty of lower mid-tier plays, but like the kind of right around that 4K range and the 3K range on FanDuel is so loaded. I don't love value hunting too much here. Yeah, I don't want to mention cheap nonsense when you just really don't need to play it.
Sure.
One cheap guy I left out, Joe Adell. I really like him. Montgomery has been just not right this season. So, and mentioned how good the Angels have been against lefties. So Joe Adell in that 3K range, I really like.
Okay. I have Ohtani, Judge, Ramirez. It's really fun.
It looks great, doesn't it?
Yeah, it really does.
Hey, let me just say, I've seen several people in chat asking about Diaz on FanDuel. Unless they've changed it, he's just not there. Like, he's not on FanDuel.
Okay.
So that's why you don't see him, because he's not there. This is a DK only play.
There you go. Okay. We need some bomb calls, and I assume there's going to be a plethora of bomb calls. But Ice, why don't you start me off with some of your favorites?
All right. I will go Christian Walker as my first one. Josh Naylor in Great American Ballpark. I really like him today. And cheaper, I will go Joe Adell.
Cheese?
I was gonna say Joe Adell. That's not cool. I'll go Logan O'Hoppe instead. Same team. I mean, there's so many like obvious names. For the, I don't want to get that obvious. How about Rhys Hoskins and also Tyler Soderstrom?
Okay. Our guy Butthole Jenkins says, "Is Diaz really worth playing?" I mean, do you like Shohei and do you like Judge? That's the question. He's worth playing if you can get those guys in. And Cheese, you said your ownership on him, if you could start over, would be like 50%.
Yeah, realistically, it would probably be higher, but at least 50.
Yeah. So I would say yes, he is worth playing. Let's see. We've got, I think, 20 minutes. Is that accurate until lock? Maybe it's a little earlier than that, but let's dive into the QQs, gentlemen. Okay. Razzle Dazzle says, Ice, do you like Horwitz and Stefanik for salary savers in DK Cash together?
I mean, you're probably not playing the 4K pitcher if you're doing that. I mean, I think that's the reason you don't have to do that today is you can punt at pitcher instead of one of your bats.
Yeah. Okay. Where are we at? Tom says, sorry, just got in. DK Cash pitchers. We kind of like Skeens and Diaz as the DK Cash pairing. Is that correct, Cheese?
That's what I would recommend.
Mm-hmm. DK Cash, Ice, at second base, you want Lux or Stefanik because you could save $1,100.
Stefanik, he's at the top of the order. Lux is at the bottom.
Okay. FanDuel single entry, Cheese, Larnack or the big dumper. I should have mentioned I got the big dumper in my lineup too, just because I had to.
Were you awake last night and caring that he hit a walk-off grand slam?
No, I missed that.
Yeah. They were down 4-0 in the 8th, came back tied, bottom of the 9th, grand slam dumper. I thought you would have enjoyed that. And I know you're not just up watching Mariners games, but like
absolutely not. If I was awake, I still would not have known. But
so what was the question? What was the question?
It was something with big dumper. Where were we?
Larnack?
FanDuel single entry. Larnack or big dumper. Larnack would complete a 4-man stack. Dumper would be a one-off.
Okay, well that's what I was about to say. I would only answer Larnack if it was a full stack.
And it essentially is. FanDuel Cash. This is a good question. We did get some pitching questions on FanDuel that maybe we didn't spend enough time on. So, Cheese, FanDuel Cash, and then in a tournament as well on FanDuel. Like if you're not doing Skeens, where would you go?
Yeah, I mean, in cash, it's definitely Skeens.
Yeah.
Or Wheeler's fine. I think you spend up a cash. In tournament, I think you play Varland or Thorpe if you're not playing Skeens or Wheeler.
Okay.
Then you got all the money left.
Okay. Jumping into the YouTube. By the way, hey, make sure you hit us with the thumbs up. This is great content, kind of on the fly, last minute changes happening. And we're not asking you to pay us $1 million for it. We're just asking you to hit the thumbs up button right there on the bottom of your screen. Hit that like and subscribe. Jumping into those YouTube questions and scrolling up a wee bit. How do we like Kikuchi? Ice, how do we like Kikuchi? Trying to fit Skeens and Wheeler, but I just keep ending up with Kikuchi paired with either one of those dudes.
Yeah, I don't love the matchup. And I mentioned his strikeouts have kind of come down as the season has rolled along, but Milwaukee is worse against lefties. He's probably a little bit overpriced for the matchup, but he's going to be very low owned. So I have a couple, but not very much at all.
Okay. Ice, your favorite stack on FanDuel to win it all?
Let me check Diamondbacks ownership over there. That's the team I'm leaning towards. I just want to make sure they're not mega chalk. Yeah, I think that's good enough. Diamondbacks.
Okay.
Marte's
great.
pretty popular, but everybody else looks good.
Okay. Cheese, DK Cash, Alvarez, or Schwarbs?
Alvarez.
Neto or Profar, Cheese, in a FanDuel GPP?
Profar.
Ice, your thoughts on Will Smith hitting a bomb today?
Certainly always live for it. I prefer lefties against Dunning, so I'll say no, but he could.
Okay. Who would be your SP2 Ice, not including Diaz? Price, not a concern. Is that Wheeler if price is not an issue?
I mean, if price is not an issue, it's Wheeler. Is that, did he give a format?
He didn't, but he did say price is not a problem. So
yeah, I mean, if literally price is not a problem, it's Wheeler. If you do need to save a little bit of money, I would go McGill probably.
okay. Love this question from LMI. Cheese, DK, I have so much money. Just give me your best hitter on the slate so I can play him and he will bomb. Thank you.
Jose Ramirez.
Oh, nice. Ice, do you have a different favorite hitter on the slate?
Aaron Judge.
Okay, these are good options.
Also a fine choice.
Yeah. Happy to have both of those guys in my lineup. K-Town's Finest says, which do you see could happen? Red Sox getting to Wheeler, which is more likely, essentially. Red Sox getting to Wheeler or Cardinals getting to Skeens? Thank you. Ice, I'll let you answer that.
I would say Skeens is more likely to get hurt. Wheeler, like, he's been doing this forever. He's been the best pitcher, one of the best pitchers in baseball for several years. Skeens is a rookie. Things can happen. So I don't think either is particularly likely, but the Cardinals have been a really good offensive late here as well.
Yeah. Okay, great. Peter says, DK Tournament Cheese, would you play Arizona Angels game stack, but only play Walker and Marte on the Diamondbacks side and then the rest all Angels?
So the question is, would I stack the Angels and would I play some good Diamondbacks bats? Of course.
Yes.
Because we love the Angels and we like those Diamondbacks bats.
Yeah, very good. Geraldo or Blaze in Arizona stack? Who's Geraldo?
Perdomo. Yeah. Another young infielder. I prefer Blaze. He's just had more success this year. But.
Okay, great. Thoughts on the White Sox to get off of the Diaz chalk? I guess I'm kind of interested, right? We don't think that this guy's incredible. Oh, by the way, it's Blaze's birthday, so that it's birthday narrative that changes things. We don't think that Diaz is incredible, but also we think the White Sox suck. Is this a spot where you can maybe get a little leverage? Ice, Cheese, either of you interested?
I'm not.
No, I'm not really either.
Okay, too many good options to play a bad.
There's 24 teams.
Yeah,
and it's not like Diaz is 80% owned. It's not that much leverage anyway. Yeah. There are 23 teams that I'd play ahead of them.
Oh,
maybe
wow.
20, maybe 21. I don't know.
Yeah. Okay. Maybe on a smaller slate, it would be a good thought.
Yeah, on a smaller slate, absolutely. If this was a 6-game slate like yesterday, you would absolutely do some White Sox.
Yeah. Okay. Cheese, your favorite single entry stack on DK? I feel like you had a top tier of 5. I don't know if you gave me like a pure favorite.
It would be the Reds, but my favorite is a non-stack. Is just mini stacks.
Yes. I'm gonna win. It's glorious. I feel like I'm gonna win it all tonight.
You are almost certainly not, but you'll like your line.
DK single entry. Cheese, coming back to you. Diaz, Simeon, or Miguel and Horwitz?
Diaz, Simeon.
Eric Johnson says, fade Judge today, or is that too crazy? That's not too crazy. You can fade any hitter anytime, right? Ice? Even though you said he's your favorite bat.
Yeah, I mean, you can fade any hitter anytime, but there's no, I mean, other than price maybe, but you can make the price work. He's not owned today. Like, I'm not concerned about ownership whatsoever.
So it'd be weird to fade him. Like, if you've got the money, you might as well.
Yeah.
3,300 ice FanDuel cash in the outfield.
3,300 outfield. 1 second here. Julio Rodriguez probably should be the answer. He's been off this season. I like the spot for David Fry better, as odd as that sounds.
Okay, great. Jumping back into the RG Discord where the cool kids hang out. DK Cash Cheese, Volpe and Machado, or O'Neal Cruz and Ketel Marte?
Cruz and Marte.
Yeah, come on. That's an easy one. Thoughts on Stefanik if you're paying up on FanDuel? Is he the second coming of David Fletcher for the Angels? Geez, I have no idea what that means, but we like
it's actually a fantastic comparison. So Stefanik has played 52 major league games. How many home runs plus steals combined do you think he has in 52 games?
In 52 games, you said he does not hit the ball hard and he does not steal, but surely he does some of those things. I will go 7.
0.
Oh, Jesus.
0 of both.
That's not great.
So,
Yeah.
I mean, he really is this David Fletcher. Like, he should be able to get a decent batting average. And if he gets on base, he scores and he's free. But 0 power, 0 speed.
Okay. Yeah, it's 0. It's not. I didn't think we were going.
It's not
with
a
that
lot.
Yeah, it's
hard to
not
get
very
less.
many. Yeah. DK Cash, Cheese coming back to you in the outfield, $4,600 or less. He's got Friedel in now, I guess.
Okay, 46 or less. I mean, it doesn't feel cashy, but I would still just play Stanton.
Okay, nice. Are both Thorpe and Varland stretched out? Which do you prefer in FanDuel single entry ice?
They are both stretched out, and I prefer Thorpe. On DK, it's closer because the salary is so wide, but on FanDuel, they're $100 apart, I think. I think Thorpe is a better pitcher.
Okay, great. Ice making you work for this one. FanDuel GPP, your favorite catcher first baseman, 3,500 or less.
Catcher first base, 3,500. That's most of the guys. I will go Christian Walker.
Okay. Cheese on FanDuel. Is it really necessary to play Varland or Thorpe? That's weird that those two names got brought up again. Especially if I'm not loving the Dodgers and Yankees, I can still get what I like playing the rookie.
No play. I mean, Skeens is the best play. So, no, it's not necessary. The best play is Skeens.
Yeah. Okay. And then DK Cash Cheese, if you had one spend left, Betts or J-Ram. I think you said J-Ram earlier, right?
That is correct.
Yep. Where are we? Back to J Sam's. Ice, do you guys feel that the Twins are in a better spot than they were last night? Doesn't seem like a lot of traffic is on them after they kind of failed as chalk last night.
I don't think they're in a better spot. Quantrill is a better pitcher. I forget who even pitched yesterday, but I know he was worse than Quantrill. So no, I don't think they're in a better spot, and it's the size of the slate is the main thing of why the ownership isn't there.
Yeah. Okay.
It's double the size.
Right. Ice, back to you with Chinatown. DK Cash, Moreno, or Heim at the catcher position. Thank you.
Moreno for me.
Hey, we should note there's never been a better time to sign up for RotoGrinders Premium. You got all kinds of sports happening, and we've got an option for whatever level you're looking for. You can get a 6-month combo subscription. Exclusive price, $469.99. That is a savings of 250 bones instead of buying 6 individual months of combo premium. You can also get your first month of RG Premium, $40 off for a limited time. And if you want a test run, if you just want to see what's it all about, what do they got, what are the cool tools, 3-day pass for $19.99. I think you can learn a lot from those tools in those 3 days, whether you continue or not. Probably a pretty good deal. 3 days for $19.99 is pretty tough to beat. So check it out. Back to the QQs. We still have 8-9 minutes here until lock and cheese. We will go to Blink 182's question. Using both pitchers from the Seattle game, using hopefully low-owned full stack, and then I've got Witt Jr., J-Ram, Candelario's one-offs. What do you think about this large field DKGPP?
That sounds pretty great. Yeah.
Geez, this is a tough one from JT Money. He says, by the way, I've been winning with all the info. Thank you. So, thank you. You're welcome. 4 FanDuel GPP lineups, 4 different pitchers. Who you got?
Well, I only have 4 pitchers in my FanDuel pool, period. So
makes
it's them.
that
It's
easy.
Wheeler and Skeens up top, and then the cheap Varland and Thorpe.
Okay. DFS Dope Strats says, Cheese, Joe Adele or Hernandez. I would like to remind you that both of you picked Joe Adele as a potential bomb candidate.
Yeah,
but that doesn't make him the better play. Is it Adele?
I mean, it's Adele. It's very close. I mean, Hernandez. I assume we're talking Teoscar Hernandez. I think that's the only Hernandez starting tonight. You can always play him, but I do prefer Adele.
Okay. Ice coming to you with Jake's question on a DK GPP, Ohapi or Gabriel Moreno. I'm stacking D-backs Angels with Ellie and Otani as one-offs.
I like them both quite a bit, but I think Ohapi will be much lower owned, so I'd go Ohapi.
Okay. Larry Banks just says Marlins Pirates stack wins it all. That would be a low-owned one, I do believe. So, hey, if it goes off, you will indeed win it all. Achilles DK Cash says Ice, Horwitz and Judge or Jazz and Worm Killer Jr. I assume that's Vlad. That's Vlad. That's Vlad because you can't hit the ball in the air. Nice.
That's correct. Sorry, that threw me off. What was the first combo again?
It was Horwitz and Judge or Jazz and Vladdy Jr.
Yeah, I'd go the first one there.
Okay. DK single entry Ice right back to you. GPP Miguel Rojas or Gavin Lux. Thanks, dudes.
Gross. Hope you're stacking Dodgers because that's your question. I guess Lux, but I don't like either of them.
Okay. Cheese coming to you for a few here. Met stacks in single entry on DK. There have been a few comments about the Mets. It might just be the same guy complaining that we haven't brought them up.
Personally, I only have a couple mini stacks like of Alonso and Lindor. I don't think I would full stack in single entry. It's not like the craziest thing I've heard. I mean, it's fine. But for me, the full stack of them does not make my single entry list.
Okay. Blaze or JP Crawford Cheese at short on DK?
I think I would Blaze on that one.
Okay. Jim Parrish says, your thoughts on Pilar Ice?
I mean, we kind of thought he was washed up and going to be out of baseball real soon, but he's been phenomenal this season. It's a small sample. I don't know if he can keep it up.
What's crazy is we thought he was washed up and he was never even good to start with. Like
Right.
he's like he was washed up from nothing, and all of a sudden he's hitting like 330 and power. Like it's bizarre.
Yep.
Does he have a dad who was in baseball? Like, why is the name Pilar ringing a bell for me?
Because he's been playing for like more than a decade.
Is that it? That can't be it. Was there a guy on the Red Sox?
Millar? Kevin Millar, maybe?
Was he on the Red Sox?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. That's who I was thinking.
Same guy. He's been playing that long.
When you said we thought he was washed up and he's been playing forever. I was like, there's no way in hell I'm thinking of the same guy, right? Okay. That's what it was. Again, I don't watch baseball. Don't judge me for that. What do we got? DK Tournament Ice, your favorite Reds to stack?
Favorite Reds? Ellie is certainly one of my favorites. Candelario is in that. Stevenson and Steer if you have the money. If you don't, I'd prefer Friedel over Fraley.
Okay, great. Guys, you got about 3-4 minutes until lock. Make sure you hit with the thumbs up if you haven't already done so. We will go to Boney's question. Boney says, FanDuel single entry, Friedel to make a 4-man Cincy stack or Gurriel to make a 4-man Arizona stack?
Who's that for? Sorry.
I think it was Cheese, but maybe not.
I mean, that's so extremely close. Like both of those guys are on my primary list, and those are two of my favorite stacks. I guess I'll say Gurriel, but like that is very coin flippy.
Yeah. Okay. DKGPP Cheese 3v3 Miguel Sosa Profar or Diaz, my boy Eugenio Suarez and Judge.
And did you read that one more time?
It was Miguel Sosa Profar or Diaz Suarez Judge.
Diaz, Suarez, Judge.
All right. Jeffrey says, did you say you like 4-2 stacks on DK? You kind of said you got no problem with just picking some.
Yeah, like I don't have a number. It's not like, oh, I definitely want 4 2-man stacks. It's like I'm just saying I'm not really forcing full stacks because I can get better players with mini stacks. It's not like it's got to be 2-2-2-2.
Yeah.
But if that's what it ends up being, then yes.
Yeah, like Michael in the chat, his next comment was like a 3-3-2 on FanDuel, and like you're that kind of thing.
Yeah, any of those types of numbers. The point is, all of your batters should be great.
Yeah, yeah, or dirt cheap, right? You can play like the 2K dirt cheap.
Yeah, but it generally, even with that, if I'm doing the dirt cheap, it's going to add to more correlation. Like I don't want to play Michael Stefanik without Angels. Like I'll play Aaron Judge, Jordan Alvarez, and Bobby Witt on their own, but I don't want to play Stefanik on his own.
You're smart, Cheese. You're smart. I need to listen to you more and play more. Okay,
you listen to me every day.
Yeah, no, I need to like actually. I need to
tuned
actually
you out most of the time.
Yeah, I need to apply what you're saying. Edgar says, Ice, Naylor and Tatis or Wheeler and Alvarez DKGPP.
Is that up?
He has two hitters plus
what
versus a pitcher and a hitter.
Naylor, maybe did I read it wrong? Naylor and Tatis or Walker and Alvarez DKGPP.
Oh, you said Wheeler, I think. That's what I heard anyway. And Cheese.
My bad.
My
bad.
Sorry, give it to me one more time.
Yeah, it was Naylor and Tatis or Walker and Alvarez.
I mean, it's the 4 awesome hitters. I'll go the first one today.
Okay. Cheese, we've got a question from Don P. Bend it over, lucky me, I'm a clover. That's his name. It says, would y'all take Fry at catcher first?
Absolutely. Yeah, we both like Fry.
Yeah, and we like your name, Don P. That's good stuff. What do we got? Juice, Ice. Honest opinion on Brewers versus Kikuchi in a large field GPP on FanDuel.
Yeah, I mean they're absolutely in the bucket today. Kikuchi's known to give up power, so they have plenty of upside.
Okay. Better late night 3-man stack, Ice, for a DK tournament, Dodgers or Rangers?
I'll go Dodgers there.
Okay. What other pitcher should I play in Yahoo Cash? I don't know. Do we know who's even?
I would have to look at the pricing.
Yeah, we don't know, and it's a minute.
And I have no idea if Diaz is on there.
Yeah.
But I will take a look while you ask something else.
Okay. Ice DK GPP. I need a first baseman 4,600 or less.
Kind of a fall off there. Don't love her eyes. Lefty. Rizzo's fine. Candelario, I would probably just go down a little bit and go to Candelario.
Okay. Cheese, were you able to find I don't know.
So apparently there's no Varland and no Diaz. Honestly, in cash, I would play Skeens and Wheeler because there are value bats.
Okay. We do have a couple post-lock questions. I think the most important one is your favorite breakfast meat. Your favorite breakfast meat. Ice, I will let you go first.
I mean, favorite, I have to go with chalk bacon, but chorizo is very underrated.
Ooh, okay. I like it. This is also a very like Southwest US thing. You know, like I feel like chorizo is in your neck of the woods quite a bit. Ice, Cheese, what do you got?
Yeah, I mean, this is like when there's a slate and there's like, vintage Spencer Strider or like 1968 Bob Gibson and then a bunch of scrubs. Like just bacon. What are we even talking about?
Yeah. It's bacon, but like you can't just eat bacon every day or you will die. So
sure. I don't eat breakfast every day.
Oh.
That way, every time I do, I can have bacon.
Yeah, that makes sense. Now, I'm a huge breakfast guy, eggs every single day, but I've been doing like chicken sausages just because like they won't kill me, but like bacon, chicken sausage, it's not, there's really no comparison here. And then there was one last question. That was a post-lock question. We'll knock this out and get out of here. Cheese and Ice, with your expert analysis of MLB, can you tell me why the Rays suck now? does the Franco thing play a big part of that? Have they just been overachieving for so freaking long and they're finally not? Cheese, you can.
I mean, I think that's more of it than just, I mean, Wander Franco was a good player, but like that's, you don't take him off a team and they're all of a sudden bad. Like it kind of like any individual player can just have a bunch of great seasons that are kind of fluky. Like, I mean, the Rays never should have been as great as they are. They're probably not quite as bad as they look either. But they also don't really have the pitching this year. Like most years they've had all the pitching and they kind of don't have anything. But really I think it's just standard regression. Like they have overachieved a lot.
By the way, Schwarber dong already. So that was quick.
And so it begins. There are going to be a lot.
Yeah. Ice, do you have a take on the Rays that you want to give or not particularly?
Yeah, I think it was a little bit of overachieving. They kind of just had a bunch of guys have what might be their career year in one season, and like they aren't actually that good. So yeah, it's regression, like Cheese was saying, I think.
Yeah. Okay. Hey, with that, we're going to bounce on out of here. It is a little bit late, so we're going to watch some sports for Ice and for Cheese and for our wonderful production crew, always working hard behind the scenes. Guys, we appreciate you. We love you, and we will catch you tomorrow. You have been